Good morning, everybody. This is the Prairie Banana. We're on Pulse Chain, and we're going to be talking about PTGC and UFO, cash flowing assets on Pulse Chain that pay us rewards every single day. Rewards that will go up in value over time. So it's like dollar cost averaging every single day. We'll be live on Spaces. This is how we do it around here. We have a pardon the noise, live Spaces on X, and then we rebroadcast it on this YouTube channel. So here we go. Good morning.
What's up, Banana? How are you?
I'm doing good. Just grinding away over here. How are you doing?
Good. Drinking a coffee.
Excellent. I already had my coffee. Good morning, Stylist. Stylist is in the chat. Glad you made it home safe. Talking to Stylist. Well, man, what do you got cooking?
Nothing really. On my third cup of coffee was watching my daughter this morning for a while.
Okay.
Now doing this.
While your wife sleeps in?
Yeah, I just got her up to watch her.
Is that your son or your daughter I hear in the background? Probably your son?
No, that's just the show I put on for them.
Oh. Yeah.
She's not making any noise right now.
Sure. Okay. I'm just kind of getting things set up here. Well, there's a whole lot that's not been happening. This week was really rather quiet, unless, except for, I guess, outside of Richard Hart's tweets, it was pretty quiet.
Yeah, I would say Richard Hart tweeting and responding is the big thing of the week for sure.
Mm-hmm. You realize there's almost always something new every week, but this week overall seemed to me like almost nothing happened except for that.
I think that's a pretty big thing. I think for me, that was like almost a pivot point for this ecosystem. Him showing that he is going to be coming back. Obviously, we don't have the complete proof of the streaming and stuff like that, but it is nice to see like his account finally interacting not only with our own community, but you probably saw he's now interacting with large accounts again. Doing little comments here or there, which
yes,
obviously brings eyeballs to his chain and himself with new users in crypto. I saw someone post just since he started responding and commenting again, he's picked up 900 followers in just like a couple days. So there is new people in crypto that don't know he exists, and he's been pretty dormant, right? So yeah, a community member talking about Pulse Chain is one thing, but with the founder coming out and being active and showing that he is still present, and he still is like kind of still on the cutting edge of like really what crypto is. And, I saw him do a comment back to the Coinbase founder. Coinbase founder made a comment saying like, in 10 years, people will be using cryptocurrency and won't even know it. And then Richard said, well, then they're probably not using cryptocurrency. Like they're just using something centralized that is like a claim on real cryptocurrency. And it's just so true, right? And no one really talks about that kind of stuff. And I feel like Richard is so aware to actually like point that stuff out and always be on the front end of like really what cryptocurrency is meant to be. Instead of where it's like went, right? And I do think we're at like a pivotal point. Richard also made a tweet kind of about that. I think we're at a pivotal point where the exchange part of crypto is going to slowly die off. And, Richard wrote a tweet about that, and we can go over that today, talking about how everyone realized that the most profitable thing in cryptocurrency is stable coins, and Tether like really made money, right? Because they're pretty much, everyone's giving them real money for a minted stable coin, but then, obviously they have to keep a reserve, but they can earn an APY on that reserve if it's in treasuries or, whatever they're legally allowed to do with it. But there is places they can park, leave it there. And even at 2%, 1%, if the dollar amount is large enough, then they just need to keep the reserve there for the people who want to bring back their stable coins eventually. They're making a crazy amount of money. And the truth is crypto's just getting more adoption. So there's just more fiat just coming into there constantly. So it's recognized, in my opinion, that that's like one of the most profitable places of cryptocurrency, and somewhat also needed, just because everyone kind of bases everything in real life off of the US dollar. Or, when we're making purchases, if cryptocurrency does get adoption, most likely, like if it's integrated with credit card processing machines and stuff like that, like they are going to need to utilize a stable coin at some point, because they can't like adjust every price based on the current price of Ethereum and Bitcoin, and that it's changing every single day. So, I think the stablecoin industry is obviously just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And like, a lot of people might even be making their daily transactions with stablecoins here soon.
Yep.
But the important thing is, what Richard was saying is, if there's a way for people to mint their own stablecoins with putting fiat into a certain smart contract or a certain place, this will almost eliminate the need for exchanges. Obviously, exchanges make most of their money from people going in and out and storing all that there. So what Richard even said was they probably will start dumping the reserves they have, because the whole business model of exchanges could slowly die off. And we know they have tons of money in exchanges that they could dump off, which obviously would hurt the price most likely of like Ethereum and Bitcoin. A pro for Pulse Chain is no one has any Pulse Chain.
Right.
To dump off.
Yep, not yet, that is.
I don't think he's giving it to him either, so it would have to be bought either.
Yeah. Well, we're hoping for that. Liberty Swap, I saw a post by them, I think it was yesterday, and they're like, just hold 1 million Pulse. If you want to make it this cycle. I think that their opinion was all you got to do is hold 1 million. I'm like, oh, that's optimistic. I love that. We'll see. But they
yeah, I think that's the most important thing with any asset that's multi-cycle, right? Is just hold on for dear life. Obviously, profit taking is fine, but think of all the people who did profit taking at Bitcoin at 5K.
Yeah.
If they're able to just hold on to the majority of their bag and not cash out into other less performing assets, it would have made a huge difference. And, we don't know the future of Pulse Chain and, cryptocurrency for sure, but you have to have some conviction in your plays and actually believe in it. If you're willing to sell your whole bag at just a 5X, I don't really think this whole 5-year journey of Pulse Chain and Hex has been worth it. You could have just went into Ethereum or Bitcoin at that point.
Yeah. Well, 54 years ago, if you got into gold, you'd have 100X by now. Did you see that tweet?
Yeah.
But Richard, that's funny, man. I have friends, or one that always comes to mind that has been into gold for decades. I'm like, congratulations. His wife actually holds some crypto now, PTDC and UFOs, honestly. And he's not into it. He's very, very traditional, conservative, but she's holding the Gray's currencies. And I happen to know this.
Yeah, once Pulse Chain, once PTGC kind of starts making its move back up, I'm sure she'll tell them, and I think that's the in real life marketing Richard's been really pushing for lately about getting in real life people, brand new in real life people into cryptocurrency in the Pulse Chain. And when Green Candle starts, he's talking about like, if it's only this existing community here that supposedly has tapped into all their connections already, when Green Candles start, who are they even going to tell if they've already told everyone? So we need to get some new people in, even if they're not onboarding. But when the Green Candles start going up, I'm sure this friend that you have is going to go tell her husband, and he might be up 4x in the last 10 years or whatever, gold is up in the last 10 years. And if she's up 4x in a matter of a few months, this really does start to spark the interest of people.
Yeah, she's upside down right now from where she bought. I'm not going to, I think I did tell her that. But at one point, she was quite a bit, in profit. And she was shocked. She's like, what? That fast? Like, yep, it's crypto. But now you're upside down, actually. Once again, it's just crypto. Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah, I am excited to kind of get out of this floor, get out of this area that we've been onboarding in for a while now. Like, even like if you look at the whole last year, this whole range that we've been in, if we get a good move up here, if Pulse Chain gets a good move up here and we break into new all-time highs and kind of can hold those higher levels, I definitely will be excited just because I care about, everyone who has gotten into PTGC and UFO. Like, as long as they're willing to hold long term, I can't really help them if they bought a top and then sold the bottom in under a year. But people who actually believe in the system long term, I want to make sure these people are happy and successful in that investment with everything I have control over. Obviously there's things I don't have control over, but luckily we have the code and the system on our side to help us in that direction. But, do whatever we can to make this a successful and nice experience or fun or, successful experience for as many people as possible. And if we give them a good, successful experience, they're more likely to tell a friend and a family member about it, which obviously over the long term really starts to add up.
Yeah, we'll get there. I think what's happening, I think it's dawning on the whole market. I keep hearing whispers of this. I have been hearing what, people say it, but it seems like it's becoming more clear amongst people of influence that this cycle is, let me just say it real plainly. I think that the 4-year cycle is breaking.
I'd say it's already broken. We're already past it at this point.
Yeah. So, yes, I think it, I listened to a gentleman earlier this week, and he's a Bitcoiner, and I need to listen to that video again because he was explaining how he thinks this cycle is going to be a 6-year cycle. So 2 additional years. And one of his points was that typically Bitcoin does not go up into an all-time high until after the final rate cut. And we just had the initial rate cut. And I think that it's clear that we're going to have rate cuts through the end of 2025 and probably into 2026. And that means, if that happens, that means that Bitcoin would not top out until sometime in 2026.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, considering that Bitcoin's pretty much been way past its previous all-time highs for like a year now. And I think it's been pretty successful at making it clear that we're going to stay up in this range. So if we can push even higher from here, if market cycle isn't over and we have some time left, obviously that just creates more of a gap between the previous all-time high and this all-time high.
Uh-huh. And from what I understand, the institutions are still buying Ethereum and Bitcoin. I don't think they're done yet.
Yeah, that was, one big thing that I was kind of getting from some of the responses Richard was saying. People were asking him like what he thinks of the cycles and stuff like that, and this cycle in particular. And he made the comment that this cycle is just so much different than all the previous ones. Right now, pretty much the pump of Bitcoin, even where Ethereum's currently at, is all from institutions and pretty much not from retail at all. And that kind of really stood out to me because, he even kind of made some comments of like, hey, everyone's here like just waiting for me to pump their bags or waiting for alt season to come. And alt season usually comes from retail, rotating into alts from Bitcoin and then Ethereum and then alts. Not so much institutions, right? So if we're at all-time highs right now from not retail, but from all institutions, what that tells me is we're going to have a very weak alt season until retail actually comes in, or if retail actually comes in this cycle, right?
Right.
So we can't just sit here on this chain and say, hey, we're waiting here for Richard to pump it.
Yeah.
Hey, we're waiting here for alt season, right? That's who we're going to go after when new money flows into all the alts. We're going to try to get we're going to hope Richard pumps the chain, and then we're going to attract all these other people that came in, to the cycle, obviously getting attracted to green candles through alt tokens, etc. And I think Richard's kind of saying like, you guys are just counting on a bunch of not for sure things. Like, we need to focus on our own season, and how we can do that is onboarding in real life people. Right now on other blockchains and other cryptocurrencies, there isn't a lot of money flowing around. So you can't really expect that to flow into our ecosystem. And then he kind of said like, don't expect me to pump it for you. Like, that's the nice thing about this chain being so illiquid, and also a problem with this chain being so illiquid. The problem is there's just not a lot of value that people could pull out without completely damaging the chart. But the pro of that off the bottom is, my example is, if we have 1,000 people from this community bring in $5,000 of net positive value over the bridge, that's $5 million, right? Like, I think that possibly is even possible with PTGC, considering we have like 3,000 holders that hold over $500 worth. If we really went to work of, telling a few friends and families or DCAing ourselves. But let's say even Pulse Chain in general, roughly 10,000 active wallets, I'm pretty sure, some of those are probably repeat wallets. But let's say we spent the next few months all trying to onboard, or a few people adding up to $5,000. And we could get $5 million over that bridge. Well, I think right now $5 million over that bridge is a 5x on Pulse Chain. Like, we could start our own positive momentum in the right direction just with the community. And the nice thing about in real life onboards is these are brand new people into cryptocurrency. They're not people from other chains that are most likely going to jump after 1 or a 2x, 3x, 4x. These are in real life people that if we show them a great experience here on chain, and this goes for PTGC too, obviously my efforts are specific to PTGC. When I'm making efforts to onboard people to Pulse Chain, I'm just onboarding them in real life to PTGC because I believe in the mechanics of the community, specifically of PTGC. But even when I'm onboarding someone in real life to PTGC, they have to get Pulse Chain first.
Yeah.
So it's helping the price of the whole entire chain by me just working on getting them into PTGC. But just 1,000 community members of Pulse Chain getting $5,000, if that's them DCAing or if that's them onboarding, this is $5 million in net positive value over that chain. And again, we have such little liquidity and the price is so low. Most likely some people would sell into that. We understand that, but that could help us maybe get back to SAC price. And that could start a whole new momentum wave, just having the chart fixed, eyeballs on us, the fact that we're moving up when maybe the market's going sideways. So, I think Richard's kind of saying that like, hey, don't expect someone to save you. We need to start saving ourselves, right? And in real life, people, if they have a great experience, like you said, your friend, if she has a great experience in PTDC, she's up 3x, let's say, here in the next few months, and she starts telling a few friends, and she gets a couple friends in herself. Well, that one onboard that you just did for maybe $1,000, maybe she brings in another $10,000. And if they have a great experience, they're going to tell a friend.
Right.
And these are all in real life people. It's not like dependent on, oh, we need an alt season and we're going to try to siphon from other chains and other tokens. Like, let's just create our own success story with onboarding in real life people to this blockchain. The blockchain is so small, the blockchain is so illiquid that we can have our own success story just by doing that. And this goes for PTGC and UFOs as well, right? Like, sometimes you talk about like, oh, we need the success of Pulse Chain. We need Pulse Chain to start moving up. So new value starts, because Pulse Chain moving up means new value flowing in, if that's coming from other blockchains or other people onboarding in real life. But, I think it's at the point where, hey, we can't expect Richard to save us. We can't expect alt season to save us. We have a great product here within PTGC. We have the liquidity, we have the mechanics, we have the community. Like, as a community, let's just start onboarding in real life people one at a time and create one of the strongest communities on chain, not just mixed with the Pulse Chain, the already existing Pulse Chain community, but also like a hidden group of all these in real life people. Once things actually start to move, who knows who they can reach out to and start to tell. A bunch of untapped capital, really.
Josh T has a question regarding the pools that PTDC is connected to with PDI. Can those assets be allocated elsewhere?
So what's left with PDI is burnt into the liquidity pool. Or the LP tokens are burnt. So that cannot be removed. We did remove already everything that could be removed from that liquidity pool, and we did allocate it elsewhere. Right now, I think it's only $100,000 of liquidity with PDI. So,
which looks like it turned out to be a pretty darn good move.
Yeah, it's obviously a strong community. I think if anything, we can give them that. If they have an amazing success story, we will obviously reap rewards off of that. We've been generating revenue off of it for 2 years now, pretty much. Tons of value for PTGC at these low levels that we would have never been able to generate in most other standard LP pools, just because of lack of volatility and stuff like that. So for our ecosystem, I think it was a huge benefit. Obviously, there is a lot of uncertainty in the PRC20 forked over token narrative nowadays. It seems like that maybe wasn't as good of a narrative that maybe Richard thought it could have been, and we're pivoting to, maybe pump tires memes, or maybe just getting cores going. But we were able to, I think, do really well for our ecosystem off that pair. If it dies off from here, it dies off. PTGC obviously is affected a little bit, but at this point, not much. But if it, gains traction, again, we reap the rewards of that, and we kind of win either way. I think, Bando, you always say you want to be right if you're wrong, right if you're right. And I think that LP pool is kind of at that point.
Yeah, and the way that it works too is that let's say PDI just dies, and we've basically witnessed it do what it did, and then just basically come down where it's at. The issue is as that $100,000 LP dies, it's still generating revenue, and it's generated millions and millions of dollars of revenue. So as it dies, it just becomes a lesser weight in the pool. It generates revenue, and then it just goes away. And that's been a really, really amazing kind of an experiment for everybody to watch on chain. An alpha pool basically turned into almost nothing. And here we are. PTGC is still, one of the best assets on chain, and it generated millions of dollars with that pairing.
Yeah, I think at one point that pool was pretty much our biggest LP pool because of that asset moving up in price. Obviously, now it's sucked down because we removed some of that liquidity, but also because the price went down. So a lot of people need to focus on the fact that usually your bigger LP pools are the better performing assets. because you're bonded with something in that LP pool with something going up. So since it's been going down, it's been shrinking. But keep in mind, still all the other assets in our liquidity web have been going down also. So they've been shrinking as well. So if PDI is to actually die and we are on a successful chain, the other assets will grow with PDI not necessarily growing nearly as much if it's actually dying, which would make its weight become significantly less. It would just get pretty much just left behind and dwindle away. But if it's successful, if people build stuff for it or whatever happens there, we can still reap the rewards with the size that it is as well.
Do you want to read some Richard Hart posts?
Yeah, I think the stablecoin one is a good one that it's worth going over. Definitely would love to talk about it with you guys and just, brainstorm some thoughts there. I think it's definitely powerful, and him kind of explaining how we in cryptocurrency will probably evolve from here. But read it and we can kind of talk through it if you guys want, and just open to anyone's opinion on it.
Okay. I think I found it. We're showing it on YouTube if you guys want to read along. It's just 2 paragraphs. This was October 16th. Richard Hart. Okay, guys, let me let you in on a secret. The people that actually make the most money in crypto aren't buyers. Do you want me to pause, Zen, for you to comment?
You can keep going. Maybe get through the first paragraph.
Okay. They aren't buyers and holders. Okay, let me start again. The people that actually make the most money in crypto aren't buyers and holders. It's Tether. And the rest of the world figured that out. So they're making infinite competitors. And guess what? One of these competitors will be a fair entity and let Joe Blow, normal, honest entity, make a stable with them. Then anyone can on-ramp instantly-ish with dollars direct to the chain.
Yeah, so that's, I think, the important part, the elimination of exchanges with this process. If an on-ramp with stables, if that's like a way where you can convert your fiat into a stable right there within a protocol or within a company, and you've now eliminated the need for exchanges. I think this could be in conjunction with people actually using those stables for a transactional currency as well. I think that's where we could possibly headed to, where they integrate, maybe the banks integrate, or credit card processing integrate certain stable coins with their payment methods, and then they handle a lot of that back end figuring out. But as far as crypto users go, they now don't have the need to go into fiat or even leave cryptocurrency via exchanges. If they are to leave, there could be an exchange to where it's just one for one, the fiat for the stable coin. But more importantly, if we could use stable coins, even if it's not a native stable coin to Pulse Chain, there obviously could be bridges where you just bridge the native stable coin of Pulse Chain or Pulse Chain in general to these stable coins that are actually accepted at, restaurants or stores, etc., to where we don't need to do the exchange process as much to obviously live our lives off of good performing assets, etc.
I think when he referred to Tether, I think he's using Tether as one example of many different stable coins.
There's really not too many that are extremely successful, but the thing with Tether is the amount of fiat they've taken in and the amount of APY that they're earning off of that fiat. It's obviously been proven to be one of the most lucrative things in crypto that exists. And governments and countries and banks are recognizing this, and they're trying to get their place in it as well. Because if the bank could take in fiat and then give you a minted stablecoin in return. And then they take your fiat just like when you normally put money in the bank, and they use that money to make more money if they're lending it, etc. Obviously they have to follow the rules of the stablecoins, most likely keeping it in reserve, but earning a APY off that, they're winning, right? Because then you could just give them the stablecoin back that they minted for free anyways, and then they obviously have a pool of funds that they pull from to pay you out. But in the meantime, they could have billions and billions of dollars that they're earning APY on in the meantime. And this is what Tether's doing.
Okay. Yeah, I think this post is a bit of a teaser for him to, launch his own stable coin. At some point if Pulse Chain is going to be competitive, it needs to have its own stable coin as well. And he has talked about that, I think, in the past, about having his own stable coin.
Yeah, that's, if he has his own stable coin and it's linked in a way to where it's able to be used as an asset to make daily purchases, which there is companies already that exist to where there's customizable stable coins. I forget the name of the company. I watched a pretty long video on it. I think it's called Ugly Money or something like that, Ugly Cash. And it's a protocol to where pretty much anyone could spin up a stable coin by putting assets into a smart contract that over collateralizes the asset, obviously pegged to a dollar or whatever that currency is. So there is smart contracts to where you can kind of create your own stable coin by over collateralizing with assets that you have. And then in their company, they already had it to where they had apps to people where people could pay with this stable coin, right? By just tap to pay. And this is big in other countries to where their currency is just constantly being manipulated by the government and stuff like that. Not so much in the United States, but this is a huge problem in like Argentina and stuff like that. So these people are actually able to store their value in cryptocurrency, but still able to make transactions at their local stores, etc., via this like Ugly Cash and stuff like that. So it could be something along those lines of just him taking this idea and making his own. And then you have to start to ask yourself, well, if it doesn't have to only be fiat collateralizing it, maybe he uses his SAC funds to collateralize it. You know what I mean? So then if he used his SAC funds to mint a bunch of stable coins, he then never even sold his Ethereum, which then isn't a taxable event because he's taking a loan off of his Ethereum, and then he's getting a bunch of stable coins, and he technically could do whatever he wants with those stable coins, and he even never sold his ETH. So the ETH over the next decade could technically appreciate, but he still had liquid funds to move around because he minted himself stable coins to possibly pump the chart up or anything.
Interesting.
And then if you build that bridge to eliminate exchanges, and it's now just an app or whatever that's actually easy to use, and you can actually use stable coins at vendors. Like, I think this is the direction that Richard would build crypto in. You know what I mean? I think this is the direction that he believes crypto should be in. So, hopefully we're moving in that direction. I do believe there's more to Pulse Chain than just injection of SAC funds. I do believe Richard, from what I've studied, has a trick up his sleeve. I do not think this is just a fork of Ethereum where SAC funds are going to be injected. I think there is some tricks that are going to play out this cycle, and maybe that's it, right? Like, one of the best stables that exists that's fully decentralized, that is integrated with an on and off ramp that's actually easy to use to where you don't need exchanges, and also the fact that maybe he's able to use it himself, use his Ethereum as collateral. Now he never even needs to sell that Ethereum, which is not a taxable event because he's just taking a loan off of the Ethereum, and then he can actually use that stablecoin possibly to inject into his chain. And now that Ethereum is never spent, So that can just depreciate in price for technically ever, but he still has a portion. Like usually when you over collateralize it, or when you get a loan with crypto, like you need to come up with, let's say, $150,000, but they'll give you like $100,000 of stable coin because crypto isn't stable; it's volatile. So they want you to over collateralize those loans. But if Richard's
that's the minimum
dollars, why wouldn't he? You know what I mean? Like I think there's probably a possibility he could over collateralize it even more than 150% just to make sure that it doesn't hit like the threshold that starts liquidating.
Yeah, I think the Genius Act, though, is going to, they're going to be requiring that stables issued, that there's treasuries purchased that 100% back whatever amount that's actually created. So it's creating demand for U.S. treasuries. If you mint $1 billion of stables, you have to have $1 billion of purchased treasuries. So I don't know how that would work regulatory wise in terms of where the regulatory framework is going.
Yeah, but I think you could structure a stable coin in a way that doesn't fall under like their, in quotes, stable coin. You know what I mean? Like I think algorithmic stable coins don't fall into that category. Like ones that...
Like a liquidity fork?
What?
Like liquidity on Ethereum?
I'm not familiar with it, to be honest, but probably.
Well, it's exactly what you just described. You take Ethereum, you take an asset, you put it into a vault, and then you can mint a stable coin against the assets that are over collateralized in the vault.
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of just like, a guess of a speculation of like what could be in store as far as a trick up Richard's sleeves. But I think it would be a great idea. Obviously, the Genius Act definitely puts some constraints on what Richard can do, but I think that's why he patiently waited so long. I think that's what that tweet was about, over like 3 years ago now, where he said he's going to wait for the regulators to shoot themselves in the foot. So I think he had to wait for those documents to come out and then fine tune his plan on how he moves forward with what I believe is going to be his big trick, what is going to be the big thing on Pulse Chain that really brings adoption here and makes it a truly decentralized
chain. Okay, the second paragraph of the Richard Hart's tweet from October 16th. That plus bridges, and you've entirely and totally replaced sexes. The last remaining component of the sex will be marketing, and when they nuke every chart they get their hands on, even that ain't worth much, if anything at all, really. This is why you see sex starting chains as quick as they can, because they know they're doomed long term. The regulatory arbitrage and gatekeeping for profit trade comes to an end.
That's crazy, man. It just sounds to me like that's an oracle statement. It sounds like that's a future-looking statement where he already sees in advance what's happening. And it's interesting because it seems like that's what Binance just did with Asher. Creating a DEX. They already have Binance Exchange, but now they just created a decentralized version of one. It's interesting.
Yeah, and you have Coinbase with Base Chain coming out, I think, what is a year old, 2 years old now. They are probably looking into the future as well and seeing how crypto is going to evolve, and they're getting ahead of it just like we hope Richard's ahead of it as well.
Yeah, I think I just heard something about BlackRock saying they're going to create their own chain for all.
Yeah, we definitely, that's one thing for Pulse Chain that, and I know Richard knows this, right? Like there is no shortage of blockchains. there's going to be no shortage of blockchains.
Yeah.
Like, as far as like blockchains that are relevant, obviously that will be a little bit of like, there'll be less of that, but like anyone and everyone can technically spin up a blockchain at this point. Is there anyone using it and is it functioning? Most of them probably not, right? But the point is, where we're going is there's going to be no shortage of blockchain. So we have to have something here. Obviously, we have the community, which is already a huge step ahead of everyone else, because most have to kind of build the community. But we have to have something that kind of sets ourselves up and gives us good product market fit as far as blockchain goes. If that's security, if that's privacy, if that's price appreciation, if that's all three of those things, just decentralization, possibly like we were just talking about the fact that it's not so much dependent on exchanges, and exchanges aren't actually holding any of this value. That's one thing that I read in that tweet that stood out to me is, if there is no really need for value in the exchange, they most likely will start to liquidate some of the value there because there's no need to hold all that value anymore, which then hurts the prices of any asset that they already hold. Well, we already know they don't hold any Pulse chain, and if they want to hold any Pulse chain, they're going to have to buy it. And this is pretty similar to what we just saw like a couple weeks ago with the liquidation. Is why we weren't affected is because no one's doing longs or shorts on Pulse chain, because these exchanges that do that type of stuff don't have Pulse chain listed.
Mm-hmm.
So we could technically be our own. I think Richard gave the example of like building up the walls around your city. If your city's sustainable on its own and it doesn't need anyone else, you could build up the walls as high as possible so you're not affected by the outside world, but you just need to be sustainable on your own, right? Most aren't really sustainable on their own, so they're letting people in and out. But if we can create our own sustainable environment, and if we see everything becoming a chaotic mess around us, we can make sure that everything within these walls is amazing, right? Is promising and, thriving, and everyone who's here is winning and eating and, families taken care of, etc.
Does anyone else care to come up and chat? Who's got a comment? I'm scanning through Richard's posts to see if there's any other posts that stand out.
One tweet, it was a response that stood up to me that I was super bullish on was, I don't care about alt season, I care about our season.
Yeah.
That one I really liked. I think it leans into the fact that what we're talking about earlier, that, institutions are in right now and not so much retail. Retail is known to be the ones that kind of rotate into alts and create that alt season. Well, if we don't have any retail in, most likely institutions aren't making that rotation. So this alt season might be not the same as last alt season. I'm sure anyone that was here last alt season, you could pretty much be into any alt token, and that thing was doing a 20x last bull market, if not 100x, whatever, 50x. Like every alt was pretty much winning. But if we don't have that same effect this cycle, if retail isn't flowing around through all that, it's probably going to be only a few select assets that actually have like their own alt season, and that's going to be dependent on them. Not dependent on the market, not dependent on just money flowing around, but on their own grind and their own onboarding and their own product market fit. Just like how PTGC kind of had its own little alt season, its own success from the grinding and the work of this sub community. And that's kind of where I'm leaning back, is Richard, in my opinion, saying like, hey, stop waiting around for me, stop waiting around for
yes.
alt, get to work, start onboarding, and build your own success. So, that's where I think PTDC needs to focus. If you are convicted in this product and you believe this product is actually a good place for your friends and family to store value. Like it's time to get to work. It's a nice thing that prices are so low, not only from PTGC being on discount against Pulse Chain, like the ratio is actually pretty good right now for value that's on chain already, but also because PLS is so low, it's literally 30% of SAC, or I think it's at like 27% of SAC price right now.
Yeah.
It's creating a huge price discount on decent sized positions of PTGC and UFO if you believe in the longevity and the sustainability of PTGC as a whole.
Yep. And we're working on it. I mean, we got a book coming out here soon, and we have other things that we're working on, to have our own pump, because it's like you've said many times in the past, Richard Hart, well, this was back when SEC was going on, but you're like, Richard Hart's on the sidelines with an injury. We're still going to be in the court, on the court playing ball. And we cannot depend on him entirely,
He's straight saying that. He's saying, don't depend on me.
Yeah.
I already put 20 mil in. Like, I may or may not put more, is how I took it.
Yep.
And I think
so.
I lean on the side that he will, but I just think he wants his community to lift some of the weight for him as well.
Absolutely.
And then that goes back to, like you said, our analogy of like, hey, we're playing the game, and obviously we have this MVP on our team, but that doesn't mean we're not going to try to score baskets in the meantime if he's on the bench. Yep. Right? Are we all just going to stand there with our hands in the pocket and say, I guess we can't win without our MVP? No, we're strong enough on our own to win plenty of games with or without him. Obviously, if we're ahead in the game and then he comes in last quarter and just blows everyone away, well, awesome.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we want, but we're not just waiting on that.
Yeah. I like what Lemonade says in the chat. He says, I will commit to either onboarding equivalent to 2 Dolphins, PTDC, or 6 with UFO, approximately $10,000 in today's prices by January 1st. You go, Lemonade. I love that. It's a team player right there.
Yeah, I think that's, right now, I think that's what our community is going to have to step up and do, every single one of us. I look at, I'll pull it up just because I posted it earlier. In PTG, I'll just do PTGC for now, but in PTGC, we have 114 sharks, which is roughly $50,000 worth or more. So 114 people there that have roughly $50,000 worth or more who could technically work for their bag and try to onboard a friend or DCA a dolphin or 2 dolphins. We have 587 dolphins, which is $5,000 or more. And again, they can grind and either DCA themselves another dolphin or 2, or try to grind and onboard 2 more dolphins or 1 dolphin. And then we have 2,191 squids, which is $500 or more. And again, like, not everyone's going to be able to onboard $5,000. Maybe they are only able to onboard $500. But if our community is, that's roughly 3,000 people. If we could get, like, let's say 500 people, so a sixth of those groups we just said is, and that those groups are all like holding a significant amount. Like, it's not, we have 16,000 holders, but a good chunk of those holders are people who have already taken profits and left with just some dust in there. These are all people with $500 or more. If we can get 500 new users in with $5,000 a piece, that's $2.5 million. And if that comes not from Pulse Chain, if that comes from actual fiat, that's $2.5 million over the bridge in the Pulse Chain as well. So now we're working off of some reflexivity. Obviously, some Pulse Chain community members could sell into that a little bit. Obviously, some PTGC members can sell into that a little bit. But I bet you if our community grinded and as individuals all focused on onboarding 1, 2, 3, 4 people in real life, big or small amounts, 1 to 2 months from now, we're, like he said, January 1st, which is 2.5 months pretty much from now. If we all made this our goal in 2.5 months, I think we'd be amazed on where our chart is with or without the help of pulse chain acidity.
Yeah. Yep. And we got things that like I am personally working on, getting this book wrapped up. And then you and I have been communicating about this, but I have some embroidered shirts, logoed shirts for when I record videos. And I have a playlist that I'm going to be recording. I'm going to do a whole ecosystem, playlist for the Grays Currencies. But I want to be in these embroidered shirts, right? So that it's kind of it's almost like a uniform. I'll be honest, man. But I just kind of I want the videos to be consistent as far as my attire and what I'm promoting. Like I'm literally wearing a shirt, okay, audience. And so that's something I'm working on for the holders of the Grays to help get the word out about these assets, because you'll be able to point people to a YouTube channel and say, hey, watch this first video. And if you're interested, if it sparks your interest, watch the second one. And then if you want to go through the whole, the whole playlist, you can learn all about the Grays Currencies.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's the goal. And so I'm very thankful for this quiet time on Pulse Chain, because it's giving us time to come up with these ideas, and then B, put them into practice,
Yeah, definitely. And all the value that we're generating daily right now, even like reflections and rewards, like those can get sold, but they can also be held. Everything that we're able to buy up and then LP, buy up and burn, at these low levels, like we have to remember at some point, there is going to be a revaluation of all this value that we're taking in daily. You don't really see it right now because the revaluation hasn't happened. But for an example, it's all in crypto, it's all in PLS, right? And it's all right now being generated, let's say $5,000 in the last 24 hours in PLS. But it's all getting put to work, it's all getting put in place. So when there is a revaluation on Pulse Chain, like look at it like a 5x from here. That's actually $25,000 worth of value that we're actually being able to put into valuable places at these low levels. As long as we keep value up and as long as we keep grinding, if PLS's prices stay low, we're gaining tons of ground over everything else. Tons of ground. Just even in price. If we can start onboarding and increasing our community when everything else is stagnant, we're going to be continuously growing around when everything else is flat. And we're going to be increasing our ratio against Pulse Chain. That's our X multiplier, right? Everything we do right now actually costs us a lot less because everything's liquidity is sucked down so low. Once everything goes back up, let's say Pulse Chain 10Xs, it could cost, that would then, for us to get those same X multipliers, we'd have to onboard 10 times the amount of money. Might as well do it when it's the cheapest. It's obviously a little harder because we got, lack of green candles with lack of FOMO right now.
Right.
But really, FOMO is for like people already in crypto or people who already have the bag. But if you're educating in real life people who are like no coiners, and you just explain to them the opportunity that, hey, this is one of the best projects on the chain. It's an index of some of the best products on the chain as well. So by just holding this asset, you're explained to some of the top meme tokens. You're exposed to, the RH tickers, the store of value, the DEX token, the gas token, etc. And then some stable, some ETH, etc. too. And it's always growing and there's deflation, give them that whole little spiel. But then you're also on a blockchain that's done no X's. And if you look at the success of just mediocre blockchains out there, I'd say you can, let's say 100X or a 50X, right? These are opportunities that most people don't get to run across. And I think if you explain risk to reward, like this is where we're at, a lot of no coiners, I think are willing to put 500, 1,000, 2,000, especially if you make it easy for them. Like, if you're willing to kind of help them get in, or send them the tokens and then maybe you just let them Venmo you. I know that's technically not allowed, but for smaller people, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
I've done a little bit of that.
Yeah. I don't really like to say that out loud because obviously I could get in, someone could get in trouble for that. But
it's not my preference, but
OTCing people or whatever. But for small amounts for no coiners, I understand it a little bit just because it's so difficult to get someone in. Doing that for $500 is sometimes like a little difficult, to where it's easier to just say, hey, make a MetaMask wallet. I'm going to send you some.
Right. Man, go ahead. Somebody's about to jump in.
Shaka, what's up, man?
Hey, good morning, guys.
Morning.
I just wanted to share a quick little story. The other VC the other night, we were talking about kind of going after the no coiners, and I found it to be low hanging fruit. I think, we've kind of pitched to Pulse Chain people for years now, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but it seems like most of Pulse Chain's out of money, and they're either just swapping around tokens, something new comes in, and they take from PTGC because that's the only thing they're up on, and then they rotate some of that into the new gamble.
Yes.
But we kind of committed at the end of that to kind of start hitting up some no coiners, and I hit up my landscaper on Thursday. He has a small landscaping business, good guy, and he told me he's been interested in crypto, but just doesn't know where to start.
Oh,
He's
cool.
actually a big sports gambler, so he told me he had money on the Brewers to beat the Dodgers, and if the Brewers won, that he'd put a few grand into it if I helped him. Unfortunately, the Dodgers won last night.
Oh, no.
But, he did text me after the game, so he still wants to do it. He's going to put a few grand in, and asked if I would help his brother as well. So I was like, yeah, absolutely. So this afternoon, they're coming over here to my house, and they're bringing laptops, and I'm just going to basically walk them through it. And they're both, I don't know if it's going to be a lot of money, if it's going to be $1,000, a couple thousand, but they're no coiners, which means they're obviously no Pulse Chainers either. And now we got two guys onto Pulse Chain, and then they start to dig in. Then they start to learn. Then they start to watch Banana's streams, and they start to fill out B-Roots, maybe even subscribe to them, all these things. And then they got buddies, and their buddies have buddies, and their buddies have brothers.
Exactly.
And that's how this game should go, and it's it starts with the no coiners, I think.
Shaka, that's why I was saying, man, in the VC, just being part of building networks in the past, it's amazing how fast a network can actually duplicate. It's you start with one, that guy brings in two, those two bring in four, those four bring in eight, and it's like, if you're on a team that's doing that, that's when your chart's going up and everybody else's isn't, and everyone's like, well, what in the hell's going on? Well, what's going on is that community actually went to work. But you're right, and B's been talking about this too. It's just all a PvP circle jerk on Pulse Chain right now. That's why he went multi-chain long time ago. He's always been multi-chain, right? So you gotta bring
it has been a circle jerk. I mean, that's the right way to put it. It is a circle jerk right now, and we just gotta. I mean, if you look at what Banana's doing and the consistent work and the hard work he puts in, and Zen and you being on these spaces really religiously, VCs religiously, brand new webpage about to come out. We are sitting at 9.5 billion pulse in the DAO right now and stacking. That's worth $1 million at stack rate. That's some big God candles. This community is putting in the work. I think Richard's talking to the rest. I mean, from those that are kind of in the sports world, you've heard, like, it's once your coach stops yelling at you, that's when you start having to worry. And with Richard doing the yelling and kind of being provoked into doing some of the yelling, which is, I think, good. That's a positive. He's talking again, at least. He's answering questions. He's asking about when October. that's all positive stuff that tells me he still plans to do what he needs to do, whether that be some trick, whether that be just flat buying coins. He's going to find a way to win, and the guys that keep working will be rewarded. That's my strong belief.
Shaka, I think what it really comes down to is that everyone's at a tipping point on pulse chain and in the markets at large, where we're at in the market. But specific to pulse chain, everyone has to ask themselves, okay, it is what it is. Forget everything from right now in the past. Just forget everything you thought was going to happen. Just forget about it. You have to assess what's going on right now. And right now, the reality is you either sit there and do nothing and wait for someone to pump the blockchain, or you go to work. There is really no other alternative. You either are here for the long term. It's becoming very clear that if you're on Pulse Chain, you're either honestly here for long term, or you're just waiting to sell out of this son of a bitch. If you're waiting to sell out, you're getting real close to the end, right? You're getting so close to the end to where you're probably thinking, damn, I'm not anywhere near up where I thought I was going to be. I can't even sell out. I'm gonna have to go through a whole other cycle. That's how bad it is right now. So at this point, it's like, okay, if you're a holder of PTGC and you think that we've really got something here, and I was talking to Zen the other day, PTGC has proof of concept. It has proof of this thing working. The thing works. It's phenomenal. It's a real financial product on the chain, and nobody can take anything away from what's been built. There's just been too much economic energy put into it. But at this point, it's like people do have to ask themselves that question. Am I looking at this for another cycle, or am I just hoping for a quick pump? Because, I'm going to tell you right now, it's nowhere near what people want it to be. And if you think that, nobody wants to, let me just put it to you this way. For me personally, it's at the point where you're starting to realize, okay, there's a ton of no coiners out there, like the landscaper guy, who wants to speculate on something new. And, Richard's putting out these tablets. Why? Because it's marketing. He's marketing. But the fastest way to grow a network is each one of you go out and tell, your 5 closest guys that are no coiners. See if they want to get involved and learn something fun. If everybody does that, then and you onboard into, think about it like this. If you're onboarding onto Pulse Chain, the best damn asset on Pulse Chain is PTGC. Mm-hmm. If you own PTGC, you pay a fee to enter, but it's one of the best assets on Pulse Chain. If Pulse Chain goes up and goes on to do very well, anybody holding PTGC is going to do very well. So if you're going to onboard somebody and you're in the PTGC community, you onboard them onto Pulse Chain. They hold a little Pulse Chain. They grab their bag of PTGC, whatever. And if you onboard 1,000 new holders at $1,000, that's $1 million. It's not that hard to do, but we are at that point where we have to make the choice, not just individually and collectively, whatever communities you're in. Everyone has to make, are you just going to sit down on the couch eating bonbons, or are you here willing to actually go out and tell people about the things that you actually believe in at this point? If not, it's just a walk away moment for now. Might as well just pack it up and come back, at the bottom of the next cycle. I don't think that's happening here. I know that's not happening here because it's just not. But I will say this, it's getting very interesting. Imagine PTGC goes down. Whoever wants to sell, sells. Imagine it goes down. I just don't think there's a lot of people on Pulse Chain willing to see a a PTGC price down at a certain level. I think that just people will just want to speculate on it, right? So it's getting very interesting where we're at. But I think that right now the team's putting together some great things to give even large promoters an edge for sharing. And I think it'll be interesting to see how the chart reacts to just something like what Shaka just did. I mean, we just brought it up in the VC over the weekend. Shaka's already got a couple new people on board. That's awesome, man. Appreciate that. But Shaka, you can see though, it wasn't hard, right? I think our issue is we think that, you know, everybody that's ever going to be in crypto is in crypto. The truth is that the exact opposite is true. You've been in crypto.
It's not hard.
No.
What's hard is going after the larger investors, and those are some of the people I had been talking to. But crypto still just scares them a bit too much, other than just Bitcoin, and they don't want to mess with a couple grand. You know, it's not worth it. Even if you're like, hey, a couple grand can turn into 100. Like, it's just too weird of a space still, especially Pulse Chain. But going after the no coiners that are kind of younger, I'm guessing my landscaper, I mean, he's the guy that owns the little company. I'm guessing he's 28, somewhere around there. You know, the no coiners, that is the trick, I think. And just, there's tons of crypto on the news every single day now, all day long. So I think a lot are in the same boat as he was of, man, that sounds cool, that sounds neat, but I have no idea where to start. Oh, this guy will hold my hand. Yeah, I'll hold your hand. We'll get you set up on Coinbase. We'll get your wallet done, and we'll get you on Pulse Chain, and we'll get you into the best assets there, Pulse Chain and UFO. And then from there, you can start to play. You can start to learn. You know, obviously, I'm going to feed them to Banana's channel. I'm going to feed them to B-Root's channel. I'm going to, you know, once they're in, I think feeding them in too early can overwhelm them. And could also kind of, you know, I say this in a joking way, but like, you know, when you come into this community and everybody's got weird names and pictures and, you know, all that kind of stuff, it could be a little bit like, what the hell is this? So I think it's better to just get them in and then kind of introduce them to those things. I mean, that's kind of how I got into crypto. I got in 2021, and I got in just on Hex. And it was when Richard was still Richard. It was before the crazy marketing and all that other stuff. And he just seemed professional and very, so, and then I learned all the crazy stuff after that. So I kind of think that's the order of recipe, if you will. But that's just me. And I think, yeah, if we all just keep doing that and talk to some people that just want to get into crypto in general, that's a good start.
Yeah, one thing I think that's important to highlight in the story that you told is the fact that these no coiners also know people who are interested in learning as well, that are not really tapped into at all because they're a no coiner. They haven't talked to people about crypto before. This example even came up quicker than what I would think, as to where he just was talking to his brother about something that he was going to do here soon with you. And then his brother was also interested, and now you're killing two birds with one stone, which is awesome. So where now there's two community members with a network of people that you have no idea even who they are. You know what I mean? You don't know who his brother knows and who his brother will show, etc. Especially when the asset starts going up. Because people love to talk about things that they've done that they've been successful at. And, you know, if I had to guess, if, you know, we all start working on onboarding people in real life, obviously onboarding people in real life will equal green candles on our chart, specifically, like, because if we're onboarding in real life people, we're getting them into Pulse Chain first and then PTGC. So now we're actually operating off of our own reflexivity, which is crazy to think about. Like, we are literally giving ourselves our own X multiplier. if we actually bring in enough people, which then could create a very successful environment for the people who, Shaka's like on the front end, like getting someone in possibly near the bottom of Pulse, the bottom of PTGC, to where these users could be up a 2x very, very shortly. And if these users that Shaka got in are up 2x very shortly, like they're going to probably be excited and tell a buddy or, so on and so forth, tell a friend. And then those people might want to get in as well. So I think just getting people in at these levels and just knowing that these in real life people have a network of individuals that are untapped into. And if they have a great experience with this protocol and with this blockchain, they're most likely going to tell people about their great experience. We have to remember most of the people on Pulse Chain right now have not had a great experience. They got in at some point in the last 4 years in the hex, and they're most likely down on their money. And if they have brought people in, those people are most likely down on their money. So they're not too interested in telling people, and they've probably already told people. But luckily, with the individual product of PTGC, we do have people that have been successful, and we know that mechanically it has a lot of things on its side that help it be successful, to where I honestly feel like our own sub-community not only could help the overall price of this blockchain, but with reflexivity, help ourselves as well. Our own price off of Pulse going up along with our X multiplier over that, creating a unique subgroup of individuals. They don't even need to be on Pulse Chain Twitter, don't even need to be, in all other places. That like they can just be in real life. And a successful group of in real life people winning in crypto. They don't need to be on crypto Twitter or anything. And that's what makes PTGC and can make PTGC really unique compared to like 99% of other even successful products. Is a lot of these successful products are just built up of the already existing communities on crypto Twitter and on chain, to where we could have a very large community of thousands of in real life people telling other in real life people about this opportunity and about this product. And to be successful in a very competitive industry like crypto, where there's literally new products launching every single minute on multiple blockchains, like you need to be unique. You need to have something that sets you apart from every other project out there. And for PTGC, and I think even Pulse Chain alone, like what we should strive to be is built off of like this really in real life marketing tactic, to where it's built of normal people, like normal people that you see on the street that tell their friends and educate their friends on how crypto actually should be, not necessarily what the media or, large mainstream crypto influencers are telling you, just because they make money off of a referral link of you losing your money longing and shorting the market.
Yeah, we were talking in the VC the other day, and I agree 100%. If I'm onboarding somebody now onto Pulse Chain and popping him into a $5,000 bag of grace, I have zero desire, not even 1%, to go beyond setting up their tracer, setting up their wallet, bridging them in, helping them do the swap. Once they've got the tokens, put it in their safe. That's it. I never will have. We'll say to them, okay, now go set up your X account. Go set up your Telegram. Go set. I'm not having them do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I want them in.
It just puts them at risk.
Yep.
These people don't even understand that in Telegram there's all these malicious people that are constantly trying to drain their wallets. They don't understand that everyone on crypto Twitter is literally just getting into projects they don't believe in at all, just thinks that they could sell it real quick within a day and then get out with your money. Like, they don't understand the industry quite yet. So why would you just send them into that slaughterhouse?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I don't want to disrupt their life. I just want them to get involved with something I think is cool, that may be able to make them a lot of money. I don't want to disrupt their normal path of life. If that's going to happen, it'll happen naturally over time. I don't have to be the one to tell them, hey, jump in and sit on spaces. It's too damn toxic. There's no other place in the world where you can have this much lack of professionalism and be credible, you know. And it goes back to what Shaka was saying the other day. You know, people come into our VC, for example, and they think that they can shill their coins in the Grace Currency VC, or they can emotionally dump in the VC. This VC is a private VC, right? For example, and it's designed specifically to answer questions. It's a very professional, platform to just educate, answer questions, help someone when they have an issue. And if we do anything that we delete people out of it, or please don't shill your other things. I sacrifice for freedom of speech. You guys think this? It's like, guys, you guys can't be this retarded, right? This is almost 17,000 wallets and growing blockchain protocol. This is a private VC, right? For education, for help, for education, for onboarding, and so on purposes. But it's just amazing that we don't translate from the real world. Even Richard, like, to me, the shit that Richard does, it's like, it's amazing to me a lot of the times. It's like, you're the worst, like, guy I've ever seen in terms of, like, trying to mimic real world CEO-esque type posture for your blockchain. You know, it's just an interesting place. So all I'm saying is that as you onboard new people, there's zero reason to go beyond helping them learn how to do crypto, take self-custody, do it the safe way, get them in, and then just let them go back about their life. You know, there's no reason to try to get them into the shit side of crypto.
Yeah, honestly, it's probably better off to not even show them that side, because if they want to participate and expand the ecosystem, they're best spending their time in real life onboard. That's where we'll get the most traction as far as the community goes. Not sitting in, on Twitter just doom scrolling or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, we can invite people to come on, and then, you go into any of these networks or any of these spaces, and all you hear is constant profanity, constant racial slurs. It's the opposite of professionalism, right? We got some great guys that are top level guys that can speak very well and articulately about blockchain in certain instances, but by far and in between, you're going to get that, right? So it's just not a place where I anymore am willing to send new onboards that are new. I just won't do it. I'll onboard, set them up, and then that's it.
That's such good advice. Crypto 7 echoes your call for professionalism on Pulse Chain. He says we need more professionalism. And he also stated a few minutes ago in the chat, he says that he hears that Interpol will be dropped very soon. And I looked on Twitter for, some evidence of that. I didn't find anything yet, but maybe he's hearing through the grapevine, which is fine too. That would be great news, yeah. Crypto 7.
That reminds me of one of the things that Richard said about when he mentioned that when he was asked about live streaming. I think it was Ian that actually mentioned about the live streaming, and I think he said something about well, I only have 150,000 subscribers or whatever. He kind of poo-pooed, like downplayed the power of him live streaming because of X amount of followers, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And I just had to laugh, because I'm like, guy, everything that has been created in the community, including like the $1 billion raise that just took place for this blockchain, happened because you were sitting in front of a camera live streaming, right? So he absolutely knows the power of all of this, and it's 100% all contingent on the stuff that we do not know in terms of why it's not happening. It's the only thing. I also think that, with regards to the Ethereum, with that, hey, there was $20 million injected, and all you guys know how to do is press the sell button, kind of a thing, right? Well, he just admitted that the OA injected $20 million. And we already knew that, but it was an admission, right? He's saying, guys, I'm willing to do all of these things. I'm doing all of these things behind the scenes. You have no freaking clue. Yeah, it's not happening the way you like it. But when I did inject the money, this is what happened. And, you can say whatever you want. You can like it, you can hate it, you can disagree with everything that he does, whatever. But it is what it is. But he's also saying, hey, look at the chart of Ethereum. He said, it's not over. And the reason why I'm talking about Richard is because we are on his chain. And he is the Wizard of Oz on his chain, whether we like it or not. Right? So he shows the chart of Ethereum. It's about where it is. I think the top was around 12,000. When October, he's talking about how funds are injected. He's talking about marketing. Richard cares about what's going on, but it obviously has to be done with math in mind and longevity in mind and being smart in mind. And as much as it sucks that it doesn't happen as fast as we wanted it, in the context as we wanted it or whatever, it is what it is. It is what it is. So it's time for whoever is on the chain, and it is, amongst my close friends, we're talking about this stuff. It's time to realize where we're at and just make your choice. Make your choice on what you want to be aligned with, if you even want to stick around, what is worth promoting to somebody. Be honest with you guys, I don't really think there's anything for me personally. There's just not much on Pulse Chain worth promoting outside of a few things and grains.
Yep.
And just pick up some Pulse speculating at a what we consider to be a pretty damn low bottom here, right? So I'm just saying, guys, we're at that point. We're at that tipping point.
Well, one of the things that I agree about is that the injection of money, that will never work. The sacrifice was multiplied way too much. He could put 700 million in, and it could get wiped out in a week.
I don't agree with that. I've heard you talk on other spaces too, and the reality is that you don't know that, and the only person that has that spreadsheet is Richard himself, because he's the only one that knows what wallets own what at this point versus what's been sold.
Look what happened to Pump Tires. They put 100 million in, and that got immediately wiped out.
Yeah, but this isn't Pump Tires.
No, but there's a lot of tokens out there.
He means Pump.Fund.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I mean Pump.Fund. Yeah.
I don't play with either one of those, so I messed the name up. But what do you guys think if he didn't pump just millions into the chain, and he did a $7 per minute buy and burn of Hex, PLS, and PLSX, all right, and said a comment that we will reevaluate this bot when Hex hits 7 and PLS hits this and PLS hits that. Do you know that he could actually do that for 50 years, keep that bot running?
And just imagine, if ETH, if we have a real strong end to the cycle, and ETH goes into 6, 7, 8, whatever it'll go up to, 12, whatever the hell, and that gets reverted out. Like you said, it doubles or triples that. When you talk about a $20 million injection, that was when everything on Pulse Chain was set up in a very different way as well. A $20 million injection, you had way more liquidity on chain at that time. You had way more inflation from ETH and from Ink going on to LP providers at that time. The amount of liquidity on chain now for the ecosystem, it's literally like the whole chain is set up like one big freaking meme coin in terms of the ecosystem. So, you know, you inject 20 million in now, you're going to have a different impact, but he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to see, he's telling everybody, look, it's all there, but if you guys think that this is just going to be a big pump and dump, that's not my vision for the chain. And so that's why that's why everybody has to update their worldview who thinks that that's what it was going to be, because that's not what it's going to be.
And I don't think a lot of us that are here want that either. We want longevity, you know, green candles slowly up. Anybody who looks at it, they see candles slowly up. They say, well, it's going in the right direction. If he did a buy and burn of a measly $7 every 60 seconds to each of those tokens, and buy and burn, the whole ecosystem would absolutely skyrocket.
Yeah, there's a million things he can do. Execute. I see execute. You got something you want to share real quick? Execute.
Yeah, how's it going? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, what's up, man?
I just had a question for you. Like around the room, I guess. Don't think of this as mud. I'm just trying to think critically.
Oh God.
No. It's just.
You had to preface it.
Yeah. So if and when, big if, hopefully it doesn't happen. But if it goes lower from here, and you guys start to onboard more people at the lows, don't you think it's technically extra sell pressure as we go up, just because the prices are so low? I asked a couple other guys, your mom, dad, and a couple other people the same question, just because, like, if Richard is going to come in heavy and hot later on, getting people in cheaper than everybody else is like they might not hold the bag as strong as everybody else in the community, right? So I was wondering what you guys thought about that. Not trying to like flutter anything, just honest opinion.
Well, we're talking about onboarding specifically to PTGC here, right? So onboarding people into the PTGC ecosystem at these prices it's a great price, in my opinion, to start doing that. And you had people that obviously got in much less. I mean, I don't think that there's real merit to worrying about that when you're talking about the global blockchain.
Not only that, but if it did go exponentially higher, you would have a lot of people end staking, and that would also actually feed the people that stayed.
That's right. The gears of this machine are volume, and volume pays the machine. Coming in, coming out. I mean, if they come in and make some money and come out, great. Lots of people have. That's part of what makes this work. And new people will buy then, and they'll keep buying and so forth. So people that are getting in now are buying and burning more tokens because the token's cheaper for the same dollar than they'll buy and burn later. More rewards will get paid. More staking rewards, more people may unlock locking rewards. There's all those pieces. This machine needs volume, and whether people get on or make money, I mean, that's just part of this, what makes this whole thing work.
And the end locking, that's going to pay out too, because if somebody, Forexes their money, they might say, "Hell, you want to know something? I'll take that 30% hit because I just made 4 or 5x my money anyway."
Yeah, well, what we're going to add. Sadly, I think Execute dropped out, but I also think, obviously Richard has the ability to not give people these entry points. Like he could easily hold everything at sack price with funds if he really wanted to. So I almost think that he's letting it fall to certain levels strategically, making it to where we do have the ability to onboard people at a good price. And obviously there is risk that you could put these people up X's quicker than maybe some other people. But I think the goal and what he's kind of saying in his tweets is network effect, right? Is he wants more eyeballs on his chain than there currently is. So if we have 10,000 active people on chain and we all tell a buddy and a friend and get them on with even just $1,000, right? But then we just increase the network effect of another 10,000 users. So when it is go time, there's 10,000 more people who will tell someone or tell a few people about the success that they've had on this chain, right? And I think that's the main goal of Richard, like what Richard's trying to tell us to do right now. And I think that should be the main goal of PTGC in general. And of course, like even like we could even say this with PTGC. PTGC has the ability to take away the discount that's here right now on PTGC. We can literally inject DAO funds and literally take this discount away from the community. But what we're saying is, hey guys, we have value to take away this discount at any point. We're strategically waiting, but this is a great time that our community could onboard friends and families, get them in at an awesome value price, just like Pulse Chain in general. And when it is go time, we have capital that we can help push the price up. But on top of that, by you guys onboarding, that's going to just push the price up alone. And yeah, people are going to take profits. This is every cryptocurrency. This is every investment asset that exists. But what we think is it's a great place to onboard. And if we onboard another 1,000 people into PTGC right here, that alone will push the price up. And then we'll have a larger network effect. So when it is go time with in real life people who know more people, the network effect will just start webbing out. And we have no idea how large this could get in such a short amount of time. And by just pumping it up with the current holders, like what Execute was saying, like, well, aren't people just going to sell? I think that is true, right? That's what happened in the past, is because we didn't onboard people in at these new levels and give them a brand new experience. We have a wall of people just willing to sell. So if we onboard 1,000 new people in the Pulse Chain or 10,000 new people in the Pulse Chain, like let them buy out some of the people who want to leave. We'll have a whole brand new set of people, a whole new brand new network effect. And then when it is go time, we have like possibly twice the amount of people to spread the good word of what Pulse Chain could be from that next point, and then that next point, and that next point. And he's completely right. By letting people get in cheaper, obviously they could sell earlier, but we have to keep in mind, like, these are the same people that have to push the price up eventually. And also we want a larger community to educate future people in real life as well.
Yeah, but he obviously isn't afraid of allowing people to come in at lower levels. And that's what I mean about having the bird's eye view. He's got that eagle view, and he can see the amount of capital that's coming in, taking larger positions versus a $500 new position or a $5,000 new position. Right?
And I think that's what he wants these smaller in real life onboards to take the position of, is some of the larger players. I think he wants to trade out the one player who currently has, let's say, $5 million on Pulse Chain right now, who's DCAing out. He wants to replace that guy or
with 1,000 new holders.
Yes, he wants to replace a portion of that guy's portfolio, because that's just one guy. He wants to replace that with 1,500 new holders, even if it's at a discounted price. Because he talked about with Hex, like even in Pulse Chain's the same way, is you have like 2 years of built up demand when a product is like waiting to be released. And that's why when Pulse Chain comes out, you see that spike on the chart, because there's 2 years of demand built up. But then that demand just gets, obviously overexhausted within just a couple days, and then it just goes down from there. And that's usually why you have the spike, and then everything falls. And then what you're at is, since the product is out, is just the daily demand, right? So now I think what he's noticing probably on the chart and why he's getting on everyone is like, hey guys, daily demand has like stopped. No one's onboarding in real life anymore. And we still have some big players who want to relinquish portions of their positions, and they're willing to sell them at discounted prices. We just have to onboard the person to actually buy them. And this is what we want anyways, because then when it's go time, those new onboards have friends and families, just like, Shaka just explained. He hit up a friend, and that friend, literally his brother, wanted to be exposed to it too. So there's no shortage of people wanting to be exposed to this type of stuff. And like, literally they just don't know it exists and don't know how to do it. It's just we have to put it in front of them. They just don't know how and don't know where. And
don't know, what products.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yep. What's up, man?
Hi, what's up? In terms of onboarding new people, I think in crypto there's different segments of people. Like people are more technical. Then I have a few family members who are not technical at all. And for them to explain, you have to bridge in, you have to put 6% slippage. They just don't follow that. So
no, we're talking about actually you walking them through it, brother.
Okay.
We're talking about in real life. We're talking about your landscaper guy who's your buddy, and you have the conversation, and he says, "Yes, I'm at. Let's get together. Meet you at the coffee house, or meet you at my house, and I'll onboard you."
Okay.
Right. That's what we're talking about.
Okay, I got it. But if those people are onboarded, if I explain to them the process, like getting into the product and actually buying it, they also ask me like, okay, but when do I sell this and how do I sell this? So the technical side has been a bit of an issue for me, because I've had a few people that circle back to me like, hey, can you explain this once again? And I think in terms of simplicity, maybe we could improve more, for example, by reaching out to Liberty Swap. I'm just saying something for direct buys and direct sells. I have been reaching out to them several times to hear what the status report is, but they haven't got back to me yet, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they have to wait for whatever. They're waiting for volume, a certain level of volume, because they have to actually shut their system down at a certain level to implement their script for allowing fiat transaction tokens. So they already actually have all the code base done for the implementation. They just haven't done it yet. But again, even that, you still have to have somebody making a swap. You still have to have somebody connecting a wallet and doing all of those things. It doesn't matter how, in quotes, easy it is. You still have to have them understanding the fundamentals. We're not even talking about that. We're literally talking about Shaka. Shaka goes over there. He tells his buddy, hey, I want to show you how to get involved. Let's get you your tracer. Let's get you we've all done that. And then once they're set up, they go back off to their very little life. When you get a phone call, hey, I'm ready to sell my thing. Sure. Let me take 25 minutes and let's go over and show you how to do it in the future.
I mean, what I told these two guys is, because that question did come up, is how do I know when to sell it? I said, you'll never sell it. And I believe in that. I said, this is going to produce yield for you. It's going to print you more tokens. That's what you sell. And you can sell that whenever you want to. You can take that. I said, you're probably going to want to wait at least 6 months or so for your first stuff to build up. But then you could decide, say, how much am I making a month on this? And just sell the yield. And that's what these were designed to do. It's exactly what Zen designed both of these products for, is to be yield generating forever. And that's what I told them.
Yeah, and that's great. Obviously, Shaka, that's perfect. But if somebody wants to sell, if we onboard somebody and they know what it is, but they need to sell, you show them how to sell. It's not a.
Oh, of course.
It's not. It's not hard.
Of course, but it's more to his question of when they ask, when do I sell? I'm just saying that's what my answer to them is. If a month in he needs the cash, he's like, how do I sell this? Of course, I'll walk him through how to sell it.
Exactly.
And he could decide himself too and be like, wow, I'm up 3 times my money, and okay, your choice. But I always pitch the yield side because I just feel that that's what they're designed to do. And once you build that bag up and you can just constantly get this yield, volume's been slow, but that's okay. I mean, that happens with investments. Sometimes there's months in any business. Sometimes there's busier months, but the busy months were awesome, and the busy months will be back again. And that's what I'm telling these guys about the product. I'm not telling them it's alien themed. I'm not telling them this. I'm just telling them kind of what the product does.
Perfect. Fahad, you got something?
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. Good evening, Ali. Good afternoon.
Do you have a question about the protocol?
Yeah, I want to chip on some things. I have been listening and I've been following all what you've been saying about the buying and the selling. So I would like to want to tip off some things because I am from Nigeria actually. So we are fortunate enough to have the orientation of, so our people are now getting to be more involved in this crypto stuffs and all. And honestly, the market is booming and everything is going well. So I don't know, how will you like to because I've seen many of your, all these crypto stuffs and all, because I'm into this thing for more than 7 years. And I know what is going through, and I've been orienting people and making them going into the market. So I don't know if you would like to enlighten more so that I can bring the people that I have, because I have more than 2,000 people under me. I have a group that I'm coordinating. I have things that I used to lecture people on the crypto stuff and all. So that's what I want to say.
Yeah, so I just followed you. I'm going to go ahead and send you a direct message now. It's going to say Mando. Okay. And what'll happen is, let's get in contact. We can get into a personal conversation over, either a Telegram VC or over X.
Okay.
I'll run you through the system, and if it's something that you're interested in, we'd be more than happy to help you get involved.
All right, sir. I'll be glad, because it's just something that is me that know what it's all about, and I've been orienting people. I have many people that I have make them understand how to trade, how to use the applications, how to do this, how to do that. And some of them are getting back to me. They are really enjoying. But the thing is, I cannot do it only me. I need support. I need more and more lights and everything that I can be using to be putting my people through. So that's what I need.
Are you familiar with Pulse Chain?
Yeah, I have been seeing it, but I have not been into it. So that's what I want. Why I want to let's get into it, because I want us to be the pioneers. Before the people here should be aware of it, we are the ones that brought it here, and everybody will be into it. Because most people here are only known with Bitcoin, gold, Ethereum, and all. So I want this to be the one that will push, so that my people will be more. I want to be the pioneer of this, because I have many people that. Sir,
what part of Africa are you from, bro?
Nigeria.
Where are you at?
Nigeria.
What part? What part of Nigeria?
Abuja.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Good to hear from you. Yeah, I just sent you the message, and we'll set something up. We'll explain to you how this protocol works. See if you're interested in getting on Pulse Chain. And this is a very serious protocol on Pulse Chain. It's something that you can really kind of sink your teeth into. It'll make you a lot smarter as well in terms of understanding how the DeFi space works.
Yeah, we need to have the personal conversation, as you made mention of, because I need some things that I need to enlighten and talk to you about. Then we'll share the ideas and we'll see how we can push it up.
Yep. Sounds good. Thanks for coming up.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. I'm very, very glad. And hi to everybody in the house.
I appreciate you coming up, man. I hope you're doing well out there.
Thank you, sir.
You guys.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Yep.
Anybody else? Come up and speak. Got anything else, Prairie, on the sideline?
I might have a starred post. Yeah, Josh asks, do you think the U.S. might trigger a financial reset by offloading gold and shifting those assets into crypto? Could this be the next big narrative? Wow, that's a big one. Yeah. That sounds like the stuff of conspiracy talk.
No. Nobody's offloading gold right now. Any country that has a brain is is slamming gold and silver into their reserves like crazy. There's not even enough physical gold to go around, right? So, I mean, the metals you can't just print them out of thin air. So there's talk about revaluing the metals against the paper assets, but that would only drive the actual USD value of those assets up against the dollar, which would reset the valuation of the debt against those things. And we've already seen we've already seen the governments do that multiple times. Yeah, debt got revalued from $20 to $35 an ounce of gold when it was, confiscated last. But yeah, there's a lot of that talk going on right now because the price of gold and silver is skyrocketing. But yeah, that's a completely different topic. I think what was the quote or the post that Richard did about the gold just recently? I think he said,
yeah. He said, congratulations. Gold finally did a 100x after 54 years.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's great, Richard.
Yeah, he says, shout out to gold, up 100x in 54 years. That's 20-year, 80% down.
Hey, that's a 2x. That's a 2x every year, right, or something like that. It's at least Hey, Richard, let's get Pulse Chain into a 2x or a 4x. We're 2 years in, man. Let's get it there. Keep on pace with gold.
Yeah, I think we're going to quickly outpace gold. I think he's setting us up, man.
Here's the other thing too, Zen, before you make a comment, I just thought, Pulse Chain, I don't think Pulse Chain's going mega lower. It could go to new all-time lows, 100%, right? It could absolutely do that. But like we've proven on Pulse Chain, the grays as an asset with a large growing community, that asset can dramatically go up in value against the gas coin of the blockchain when you grow the private personal protocols network.
100%.
Right? So even if, and my point is very easily.
Yep,
so let's say it dropped another freaking zero. With the way the liquidity is set up, PTGC could literally explode against,
if we're actively onboarding in real life people, like in a decent magnitude, our community really working hard, let's say a few hundred, half a thousand community members all trying to onboard at least one person, maybe 10 people, depending on your own network and how willing you are to grind for the protocol, we could gain some serious traction against Pulse Chain at these levels. We could gain serious ground, even with Pulse Chain going to all-time lows. It'll just make it that much easier if we are actually actively onboarding do X's over this blockchain. If we actually have an inflow of new value coming in this chain by in real life people with fresh fiat, the chain actually going to all-time lows is maybe even a benefit to our ecosystem, because we're then doing X's over the blockchain that much easier with less amounts of value. Because the lower everything goes, liquidity shrinks, which makes it easier to do X's over PLS. But the thing is, we have to be actively onboarding in real life value into the product. And there really isn't a lot of products in crypto. Like, anyone could look at their portfolio and look within your portfolio and be like, okay, in my portfolio, what am I even willing to tell my family and friends about? And what would I be like completely embarrassed to even like show them that I have this sitting in here with this amount of value, right? Like, I think that's one thing that is unique about PTGC and UFO is it's a product that I think a lot of people are actually willing to onboard
in real life people too. And how that can expand over time is just massive, right? Because if you feel that way, that means other people feel that way. And when value actually starts flowing into the chain and things start going up, there is assets in people's portfolio where they'd be like, yeah, I hit pretty hard on this one thing, but like, I'm not telling you about it. Like, it's done, I'm out. You know what I mean? But then there is also assets that's like, hey, I'm actually winning really hard on this thing, and I actually think it's going to last, you know, as long as the blockchain. Like, let me educate you. Let me teach you about this specific protocol. It's not just a pump and dump. And that kind of goes on what you were saying about gold. Is a lot of people don't realize that, like you said, it's done a 2x every single year for the last 50 years. And a lot of people don't realize that that's like the power of multi-cycle systems, is if you can actually become a multi-cycle system and you do the amount of X's that, you know, we're hoping to do for PTGC and PLS, etc., 5 years down the road, a 10x or a 10% move 5 years down the road for people who entered in today are like 2x moves, 4x moves, depending on when you got in at, right? Does that make sense to everyone listening? I'm sure it makes sense to you, Mando. I'm just making sure it came out clear enough. Because every single day when they talk about the moves, they're talking about the price on that current day. They're not talking about the price that you got in at. So in the future, when the asset moves up 10%, or for an example, let's use Bitcoin. When Bitcoin's moving up 10% right now, there's people who got in at $1,000 Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin goes up $10,000, they just 10x'd their $1,000 Bitcoin because they got in at $1,000. And that's only possible on real multi-cycle systems.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I was in a space with the guys the other day at KR and Giga. Some other people were in there, and there was a woman. I can't remember what her name is now, but she was talking about how when she onboards people, she only onboards people using meme coins, the meme coins that she likes, that she doesn't even really talk about Pulse Chain, right? And here's what she said. Why? She said, because you have to be able to show that there's life and there's a good chart, right? So she said, when I tell people, hey, I want to show you about these meme coins and I'll help you get into these meme coins, by default, you're getting them into Pulse Chain without getting them into the Pulse Chain-esque, you know, chart forever down thing, because, you know, you're not technically in that. You're on the chain, but you're not in the chain, right? And I just thought that was such an interesting, you know, everyone's always talking about cores, right? Yeah. Well, you take profit in cores, or you take profit in stables or anything like that. But I think people should really just start to think about the reality that maybe it's the inversion for now. We're not talking about Pulse Chain and Hex. I don't even talk about Richard. Just talk about the things you like. Onboard them into the things you like on the chain. And, you know, by default, you're bringing value into the chain. Obviously, PTGC's ecosystem is something that's been phenomenal for people that have been here long term, but it's a different way of thinking about stuff, right? We don't have to talk about the gas coin. We could talk about the things that actually are built on top of the blockchain that people are having fun in, enjoying, making money in, because that's how you get the next round of users. Because right now you're not getting any new rounds of users because everybody's just circle jerking themselves, right? So I just thought that was an interesting perspective. If every single active user on Pulse Chain just told one person in their network, hey, I want to show you how to get involved in crypto. Yeah, one guy out of 10 raises their hand. The user base of Pulse Chain doubles in 30 days. That's the problem that we're having, is that everybody, I was starting to write something, and The truth is that everybody has fatigue that's been here for a very long time. They've got Pulse Chain and Richard Hart fatigue.
Yep.
But if you're in assets, most of these people that are on chain, they've made a ton of money. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these people that have been operating, they've made a lot of money. It has nothing to do with whether or not Pulse Chain went up in value or not. It has to do with they were active on chain, participating on the chain, having fun, learning meme coins. Maybe they bought PTGC, maybe they bought SolidX, maybe they bought X Games, maybe they bought whatever they bought. Maybe they bought Pepe. But when the whole narrative is, Pulse Chain's just forever down thing, we don't even have to talk about that when we're onboarding. Talk about the things you like. Show them this new trade. Show them this new way that they can make money if they want to learn it. And in doing so, it's a little bit less, Pulse Chainy, and just more about onboarding somebody into a serious asset like a PTGC, or just learning how to just do the meme stuff and just have fun on a chain with, their Vegas money to start. I don't see any other way to really onboard a new user base in the current environment that we're in. What else are you going to do? Right?
The bull of all time, did you have something?
Hey, evening, guys. I'm from London.
Thanks for coming in.
What's going on, man?
Yeah, I mean, nothing really. I'm listening to all these spaces. I mean, I've only started yesterday to speak on these spaces. So how you all doing?
Good. We're doing good. Appreciate you dropping by.
Yeah. So I've got a couple of minutes of roasting just for banter. And I've put together a simple music and some of my
wait a minute. Sir, what exactly are you trying to do? Because this is a space specifically for our protocol and Pulse Chain. What exactly are you wanting to do now?
So just some Pulse Chain report for the last 2 years.
All right, go ahead. We'll have a listen to what you got for a second. Go ahead.
So is it just your PTGC protocols that you were guys talking about, or is it just Pulse Chain in general?
No, we can talk about the ecosystem. I mean, that's pretty much what this is for. Uh-huh. If you have some questions or some comments about Pulse Chain and we can have a dialogue, let's do that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's nothing really. I mean, I just wanted to know what you guys' sentiment or just a perspective about what's going to happen on the ecosystem right now as we're approaching onto these, kind of end of the bull market, really.
And
Zen, you want to handle this?
Opinion?
Yeah. Well, so as far as like Pulse Chain is overall as a blockchain, obviously it's down. So morale is pretty low. And what we've been talking about a lot on this space is kind of putting the network back in the user's hands. And, as a strong community of pretty much 10,000 active wallets, the amount of wallets is a lot larger than that we can actually get a lot of growth, not only specifically in the PTGC ecosystem that the space is for, but also as far as Pulse Chain as a whole. Because if the whole Pulse Chain community, let's say the 10,000 active holders, all onboarded someone, let's say $5,000 is the average, obviously some more, some less, that's $50 million coming over the chain. Let's say half of that got sold into, so $25 million. Well, $25 million for Pulse Chain is like a 25x because we have such little liquidity on chain. So that alone would be pretty much an alt season specific to this protocol just from IRL onboarding. And then that would be onboarding of new in real life people. So it's not the same of like a lot of runs that other blockchains have, because a lot of the other runs come from actual crypto users who usually don't have friends to tell and friends to onboard as well. So we're kind of talking specifically about, hey, morale is down right now. Price is down right now. Conviction is actually down right now. This is the best opportunity to start grinding. This goes for Pulse Chain and this goes for PTGC. With PTGC, the cool thing is it works off of a thing called the X multiplier reflexivity. So if we bring in, let's say, $5 million specific to our protocol, we're not only bringing $5 million in the Pulse Chain, so that would be like a 5x there, give or take, maybe 4x, to 3x, depending on sell pressure. But then we're also bringing that $5 million into our own ecosystem, where that could give us, let's say, a 2x over the Pulse Chain 4x, which would then equal an 8x. So we're also operating off of unique, just how liquidities pools operate and reflexivity, and we can create our own success in our individual ecosystem. So like you said, like a lot of people think the bull market's coming to the end. Some people think it's going to be a 6-year cycle instead of a 4-year cycle. Obviously, no one knows the future. And what we're kind of talking about here in this specific space is, hey, we don't care about alt season. We don't care about Richard bringing in funds or being dependent on these external forces that we actually have no control over. What do we have control over? We have control over, a community of decent size. And let's start grinding and let's start making our own success story here with or without the help of the external market.
I'm sure, not like myself, I think many, including so many people on the chain right now, we onboarded many people, including myself, and I'm sure like many other people as well. But the problem is, for the last 2 years, it's just nothing short of red candles on the weekly time frames.
Bigger people and the people making money have definitely taken that value out, right? I 100% agree with you. The community has been onboarding, and then people have just taken profits off of those onboardings. But what we're kind of thinking right at this level is we're getting close to the end of that. We're at floor levels. So even if we make no progress off of, let's say, $10 million getting brought in, let's say that $10 million leaves. But if that $10 million came with 10,000 new holders, at least when it is go time for this chain, our network effect has 10,000 more users than it did previously. So then when green candles do start to come, those green candles actually have a new brand new audience to advertise to. And that brand new audience has friends and family that they're willing to educate as well.
Perfect. So as a community, are we really relying on Richard Hart, or is it just, is there any other hope on the ecosystem? I mean, the fact that Richard already has his treasury, it's not his treasury, but let's put that there is a treasury that's there, and are we solely rely on that, or is there anything else on the chain right now?
So that's the whole point.
So why I'm asking this question is I can obviously onboard many other people that have the network capacity to do so. But the problem is all I've seen for the last 2 years is not a really great results on that. So I'm just...
But that's specific to Richard's cores. That's specific to Richard's core assets. But people who have been operating on Pulse Chain, either in creating protocols or, like, for example, PTGC. PTGC went up to a $350 million market cap, is sitting at a $50 million market cap right now. People have made millions of dollars on Pulse Chain in meme coins and everything. So we're not just focused on the price of the cores. What we're saying is that we have a global blockchain. It's safe. There's a safe bridge. There's a billionaire up at the top. There's obviously a triple bottom. We're not sitting here twiddling our thumbs saying, "Sack Daddy, pump my bags," because we're just waiting for the dumb, the dumb pipe coin to pump. The point is, we have the ability to go out and onboard new users into the things that we believe in on Pulse Chain and make those things go up in value and expand the network effect of those things. It has even nothing to do with Pulse Chain. You see what I'm saying?
All right. Okay. Gotcha.
If every single user of PTGC onboarded one user this month for $1,000, the price soars against Pulse Chain.
Gotcha.
So the question really becomes, do you trust the blockchain of Pulse Chain for its security, for what a blockchain is supposed to do, right? For the long term, do you think over a longer time frame that Pulse Chain will be in a better situation? And I was telling Zen a couple of minutes ago, even if Pulse Chain went into new all-time lows, if you've built something great on top of the dumb pipe that people can make money on, it doesn't necessarily have to matter, because you can pump your way out of a new all-time low on Pulse Chain very easily if you have a network of people that are enjoying a protocol on top of the dumb pipe. That's kind of the concept that we're talking about.
I mean, I understand your point. I think majority of the crypto land, I think people are, I think 400, 500 million people. Ever since I've seen Bitcoin in $2,200 all the way up to now, there are not many people are here for the tech, that's for sure. But there is a future there if people believe that chain can have a value, which currently in Pulse Chain land, Pulse Chain is not really offering anything new except the fact that it's a fork of Ethereum. But there is opportunities. I've seen the opportunities from PTGC, PDI, and so many other coins. Yeah, sure. But overall, the concept is, if I onboard somebody with a deep pocket, that we have to explain them to, so many other things. That number one things come to mind, that the founder himself. And
well, let me ask you a question. If it wasn't Pulse Chain, what would it be? If it wasn't Grays, where would you go, right? So I guess what I'm saying is, if you have a network, you say you have a network, right? Okay, if you're not considering Pulse Chain and maybe some great things that are built on top of Pulse Chain, well, where are you looking?
No, I mean, I'm talking about the general crypto market. The Pulse Chain or PTGC, yes, you said rightly in your point of view, there are protocols inside the Pulse Chain, and people make, money out of it, I'm sure. But if I wanted to explain somebody who have not really that kind of knowledge about blockchain and other things, but they wanted to invest it in it, and then the first question for them is what Pulse Chain is offering outside of other valuable networks such as BTC or Ethereum or BNB, so many other things that they've done phenomenally well without any risk in the last 2-3 years since the bear market ended in 2022. So that's
what do you mean by that? What do you mean that there's no risk? And what are they offering? I mean, pretty much on these chains, what are they offering?
Every single chain has a liquidity, and that's the number one issue. So if I wanted to invest in Bitcoin or
Pulse Chain has liquidity. Pulse Chain has plenty of liquidity. Unless you're a mega whale, you got plenty of liquidity to play on Pulse Chain.
If there is a 10 million buy orders on the Pulse Chain network, it will affect.
Well, right. I that's what I'm talking about. Like, I'm not talking about onboarding a whale, man. Right.
Hey, what's up, guys? You can hear me all right?
What's up, man? Yep, your mic is perfect by the way this time.
Good. Yeah, no, I just wanted to touch on what you said earlier, which was that you're going to have a hell of a hard time right now onboarding users in a Pulse Chain, but you're going to have a very easy time onboarding into smaller communities. And I think I think a good counter argument, I guess, to what you were saying about like what's so special about Pulse Chain is it's nothing and everything. It's because people will always go wherever they kind of assign like speculative value. So you can do that by having these communities on Pulse Chain. And like what we see a lot of like OG guys or like maximalist types of guys that are for Richard Hart only stuff is they don't understand the concept that, for PTGC, for example, you still have to buy Pulse. So every new user is another Pulse user, and the liquidity comes with building all of these, micro communities, large communities. It doesn't matter. Those bigger whales absolutely are probably not wanting to play on our chain right now, because even a few $100,000 a buy, and they're paying several percent basically in slippage. So those things do build up over time, though. It's not like this is all one, sudden swoop, and we're not going to have like a $10 million random whale come in. But if we have 100 communities and they've all convinced their friends and their friends, the friends of their friends, to go and buy PTGC, well, they all had to acquire Pulse to get there in the first place. Now you're building up the chain's liquidity regardless.
Yeah, sure. And also, I wanted to touch on that. So you guys think that, is there any light at the end of the tunnel for Richard to, come out of these Interpol?
100%. 100%. I mean, from everything that we're seeing, we just saw a post from Nuclear Herbs, who's kind of like our community attorney. And there was, there was that. Why would we think that it's not, when it's the same exact, attorney firm that dealt with the SEC that also deals with that, right? So when you have a man with that much resources, you have to assume that that's exactly what's happening. Does he seem like he's afraid of the poll? It doesn't seem like he is at all, right?
No, he's not.
No, it doesn't seem like that at all. So you have to assume that those are all things that are in the works, in my opinion, because it doesn't make sense outside of that.
I mean, there's also the fact that he how vocal he just has become on Twitter in the past few days. And the fact that he basically said, like, hey guys, ask me any question you want, just not about, Inter, I think is what he said.
I mean, yes, I wanted to touch upon that.
He said poll.
Yeah. I mean, after like many months, he just wanted to come out of the show and wanted to talk to people. It's just one of those great, his move, I guess, in the last 15 or 17 months. Apart from we get the Christmas videos and some other videos that he uploaded on X's and Spaces. So and also I wanted to touch up on another point. Because of I don't know, but I just wanted to explain about my situation. So I watched live when Richard launched Hex protocol in 2019. I was watching the Toneways lawyers debate. Prior to that, I know Richard as a person in crypto since 2017. So when I saw that debate, the way he put it out there, that's when I realized, this guy has something different than because normally in Bitcoin land there is no respect for Richard for a very long time. I don't know, for some it's just the kind of picture they wanted to put up on him as a scammer, as a some other people on the crypto land. So I realized in 2019, and that's when I went to some of my investment in the Hex, and I've had a good run. But what I wanted to touch up on that is really because of these Interpol and other kind of things, and obviously the portion is down against the prices, and the way Richard did all these interviews in 2021 and 2022, the majority of the time, whatever that he said does not really reflect anything whatsoever of what's happening right now. So even if I wanted to talk to a couple of my friends, they are deep in the market. They actually have very good amount of money they can bring in. But the problem is, legally or any other ways that I can't even explain to them that there is a potential. It could have been better, like if we found the bottom last year and do something. Even, kind of.
What do you mean legally?
Legally, in the sense that there is a Interpol things on Richard, so that's the legal stuff. If people are saying that he's a scammer, that we can explain to them because he's not. But there is an Interpol that is the legal stuff. There are I don't know, some things that we can't even explain to people because of the nature of the game right now with this. Richard Hart, Interpol. I mean, I just really hope that he will go past to that, and then we can just onboard people easily without any sort of explanation to do so. With people who have a good amount of money that they can bring into the chain. That's my honest opinion, really.
Can I chime in here a little bit? Because it also aligns with what Giga was just saying too. What we're finding right now, and it almost feels like we're being guided by Richard to do so, and it feels this way not only because of the amount of liquidity on chain, it's almost set up. It's an environment like impossible to onboard large players. So what we were even talking about earlier is where we're putting a lot of our focus right now as far as the PTGC ecosystem is IRL, like no coiners. So us going to friends and family and acquaintances, let's say, and it doesn't have to be like a massive player of 100K, because like the chain it's very hard to onboard someone with large amounts of value right now, especially due to the chart and also the liquidity. Is a no coiner and showing them the risk to reward opportunity that they have here with this blockchain, and just show them, hey, this is what we're at. The blockchain is down 70%. The average blockchain, the remotely successful blockchain, after it makes its first move, like hovers around a 50x up, 100x up. Like there's tons of opportunity here. In a no coiner, most people aren't exposed to this kind of risk to reward opportunities ever. So yeah, they might only be coming in with $5,000 to $10,000, but if everyone on Pulse Chain, all 10,000 active users, or everyone in PTGC, let's say all 3,000 stakers, if all 3,000 stakers brought in someone, or the average brought in $10,000 of new revenue, if that's DCAing or a couple in real life onboards, that's $30 million right there. $30 million into this chain with zero sell pressure would be like a 30x. With 50% sell pressure, that's like a 15x. That's our own sub bull market. And then just with that value coming in, now we have enough liquidity and the chart for the big players to come in. And more importantly, what I think Richard's pushing us towards is we need bigger network effect. By us getting in all these average guys with average prices, when it is go time, these average guys with average amounts in have friends and family that they will then onboard into the green candles, instead of these big entities that will just sell into green candles. And then even if we don't get a lot of price appreciation at these low levels, because bigger players are selling into us onboarding 10,000 smaller fish, well, we're buying them out. So then when it is go time, we've bought out a lot of those positions, and then we still have the same network effect. We have more people to tell friends and family when it's go time. And this is all on us. You know what I mean? This is something that all of us can do in the meantime, if that's Pulse Chain as an entire community, or if that's just PTGC's community, the 3,000 active stakers. If we all just onboard an in real life friend or family, and if we onboarded, like PTGC alone, if we onboarded $5 million of brand new fiat, that fiat has to go into Pulse Chain first. So we're pumping up the entire chain with 5 mil. That could be like a 4x right there. And then if that 5 mil came into PTGC in this imaginary example, that's an X multiplier over the gains we just got. So that 4x, now let's say we do another 2x because of the reflexivity. We just did an 8x in our sub ecosystem. Our sub ecosystem is winning super hard, which obviously helps with onboarding and giving our own friends and family and community members a great experience. And great experiences onboard more people.
You're also not onboarding past emotional baggage about anything that's happened from this date in the past, because these people have no clue. They didn't sacrifice. They're not involved with hacks. There would be an entire group of new users that or holders that they don't care about anything on this blockchain up until the moment that they take a position in whatever they took the position in.
Yeah, sure. And also as a community, I wanted to know the LCD tablets marketing. Is it really happening in the US? Because I'm from London. Is it only in the US or is it like international? Because Richard mentioned about 700,000.
It's international, and it's absolutely happening. It's happening in a big way. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, that's nice. Okay.
And that's not speculation. I know the people that are doing it. It's 100% happening.
Okay, perfect. All right. Anyway, thanks for answering my questions. So, and then thank you for having me as well.
Pleasure to have you come up, man. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Were you going to say something, Giga?
Sorry, bro. I'm getting the kids some lunch.
Oh no, I thought I saw your mic kind of go in and out.
Yeah, no, I was gonna chirp in and just say, what was it? Basically that once you do get those new users in, you'll actually see the return of a lot of old users, especially guys who had made money in the past. A lot of guys in Hex that had made money in the past. Once they realize that there's momentum that you can't really stop, you'll see these guys pile back in too. So it kind of has like a multiplying effect. So even building up the smaller bases here is really powerful.
So true. Nobody wants to miss the boat, man. Nobody wants to miss out because of greed. And it's just a reality, man. Everyone says, "Oh, I'm out of here." Yeah, until you start seeing mega green candles, and you're right back into the seat, right?
Hey guys, I wanted to chime in really quick. As it relates to the Interpool, it seems to be, when people talk about onboarding, talk about how you're going to position, the value of getting into an L1 at ground level when, the founder has, potential, legal issues or is being attacked. I think the response to that should be pretty bullish, right? If you look at, Donald Trump had, how many, how much was he attacked, in his.
Look at CG.
Yeah, I would say my response would be, right, if your founder isn't, being attacked and being pursued in every, from every direction and being deplatformed, then you should probably be worried about the investment you're in, right? Because disruptive technology, disruptive platforms will be attacked by, the incumbents. Whoever's in place currently is not going to be happy to see another chain thrive. So they will be attacked from every single direction. So look at that as, the most bullish thing about, this opportunity is the fact that people care. If nobody's attacking you, nobody cares about what you're doing, right? Somebody's worried about, what Richard Hart is building. They're worried, that it's going to be incredibly disruptive. So there's no better time to get in than right now, right? Is the way I would look at that.
Why not bet on the underdog?
Oh yeah, man.
And this is kind of like what I think was being said earlier is if the value that most users had to pay, it's now 20% of that or 25% of that value. And at the same time, you have the opportunity of smaller communities to make money on that chain through meme coins, and you're still supporting the underlying chain, the dumb pipe, right? Then it's like, how much more opportunity do you have? Like if I
SEC clarity already beat the SEC, which is huge.
Yeah, the US basically can't touch it. So I go like, if I want to make a meme coin, I want to make a meme coin on a chain that's not, I think, maxed out as a chain. Because if, like, let's say it's on Sol, and let's say Sol just like pumps, just rips straight to $1,000. And like, if I launch on Sol, now I have the risk of that underlying asset, the Sol, against my coin, potentially not performing, and I could have a great vibrant community with nice volume and everything, and it's like I would have to be fighting the tide. So I just kind of look at it like if you almost have like a force multiplier by doing your meme over here, because there's enough capital for everyone to make money if they're grinding, and then you have the potential of that that underdog performance, which I do think is coming. So yeah, why not catch the 5x on the coin that your meme coins or your utility coin, whatever it is derived from.
Well, and on top of that, when you start seeing that kind of momentum in your community, the people that are on the chain, they start taking profits in your token. So, like, generally it's like, okay, I want to take profits in Pulse, or I want to take profits in Hex or whatever. They start taking profits in the thing that actually has momentum on the chain. So there's just this constant domino effect.
Yeah, and there's so much power in those sub communities, right? And I think it's okay to for people to know when they come on chain to interact on chain that, if it is with any of the investments that they, or entertainment, right? You can call it investment, you can call it entertainment, whatever it is. You can call it gambling for some people that, if that's what they want to do. The likelihood is they're either going to, their bag is going to appreciate or it's going to depreciate, right? It's still zero sum. That doesn't mean people don't want to do it. And that doesn't mean people aren't going to be attracted to doing it. So introducing them to these sub communities where they could actually enjoy transacting on the blockchain will ultimately lead them to learning more about the blockchain, which is ultimately what they want, what we want, because that's what makes them sticky, and that's what helps them find better products and better protocols. The whole, and I know I'm probably not, this isn't a popular opinion in this space, it doesn't sound like, but the whole onboarding one-on-one and teaching people that in real life about about crypto, I think that's that's a tough road to travel. I just think back, and I think most of us have this experience and most can relate. You think back to how you got into crypto yourself. The people that told me about Bitcoin way back, when I should have gotten in but didn't, were fucking nut job psychopaths, right? Like nobody, you see these guys, talking about Bitcoin back then. You don't trust it. It actually prevents you from, it actually makes you run the other direction, right?
No, we're not living in that world anymore, though, man.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
At all.
But at the same time, most people were introduced to the blockchain simply by, seeing something that captured their attention and seemed fun and interesting. And, these sub communities that build on the blockchain that create excitement and short videos. And, I think of PTGC, right? Like I would have no interest in PTGC because of the tech, but, you go onto the news now and you see every news outlet talking about, real life UFOs and alien invasions and, all these conspiracies that people are thinking, hey, maybe there's some truth to it now. Who knows? It's all over the news. I don't see any PTGC, post-chain, gray currency, memeing going on in these real life, real network effect opportunities where people are online paying attention to something, consuming something.
Very true.
And, that's a great meme opportunity, I think, for PTGC is to go out there and sell, this currency, right? It's, to people that want to talk about, real life fucking aliens.
Yeah, well, I mean that's what got me on board. I think like into 2023 in November, and just looking at aliens and thinking about the whole if aliens did have a protocol, and then you look into the protocol and it's like that tight knit and strong. But like with Zen Prairie, I was going to ask you guys. I've seen since the beginning every dip and peak and dip and peak and trough of PTGC, and it was one of the only coins in this ecosystem that I could always guarantee they would hit another peak from these lows. Like you could look at it, and if someone tries to say, "Oh, it's they're not getting back up there," it's like they've done it every single time the course did anything. So, what's different in this trough than the troughs of the past?
Yeah, and Pump, I just wanted to say quickly, I think it was kind of they did meme that, like, there was a lot more memes. There's not so many memes right now, probably just because general sentiment's low. But I also think it's unfair to compare probably one of the most successful protocols on the chain to saying they need to do more, because there's like every other community in the ecosystem that needs to be doing more. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I agree with that. Yeah.
Well, we're also one of the only communities that has already made millionaires, and we're also one of the only communities that has millions of dollars earned on chain, and that show up every week, at least twice a week, no matter if it's sun, rain, shine, storm, F5 tornadoes. That's not blowing steam up people's asses. That actually has substantive information, not only about the protocols but the chain. You know, with professional people that have been around. You know, it's what do we have out there now? We have a couple spaces that show up that are either just talking about general memes or just, you know, there's not many people on Pulse Chain that are serious people on Pulse Chain representing Pulse Chain or something that they've built on Pulse Chain. I just heard Buck for the first time, and I don't even know how long, from Flux come on. And he like there's just not a lot of people even that built things on Pulse Chain that even show up.
Yeah, actually, that was like Buck's second or third space like in a year, which is always interesting.
Yeah, and you know how Buck is. You know his temperament. It's just kind of like, you know, it's just kind of the general market stuff, very low key, monotone, just fun conversation, kind of jib jab this, and you know, great questions.
That's why I like PTGC so much. I mean, the community, you guys, week after week after week, I just every time I come here, I learn a little bit something more.
Yeah, we're not the type of crew that's like, oh, we're the best in the world or any. We don't do any of that. It's just be professional, show up, share the numbers, share the KPI, share the data. The chart is what it is. The chain is what it is. If you see what this is, we would, you know, take a look, jump on board. You know, we're just there to promote Pulse Chain. And we're there to promote the things that have been built that we care about on Pulse Chain. If we just had more of that, and in more of a professional way, it would just be better, right? What we're talking about now at the top of PTGC's ecosystem now is we have to agree now about where we are. We've come to a fork in the road, in the road moment. Funny, like a fork. Right, we've come to that moment where we're kind of, people think we're at the tail end. We could not be. We could end up in an elongated bull market. But what Zen is saying, and what kind of like the community is saying now, is we have to decide if we're going to onboard new users and teach new people Pulse Chain. You know, the Pump said, "Oh, it's a hard sell to talk to new people." Well, what's the alternative? The alternative is what? Talk to no people? Try to talk to people who are on another chain? Because it's you know, for the most part, it's like, if they're on Bitcoin, they're just Bitcoiners. If they're on ETH, they're on ETH. You know, there are some multi-chain users, but the point isn't to try to figure that out. The point is, if everybody just literally just onboarded one friend, got him a MetaMask wallet, and they said, yeah, I'm $5,000 of Vegas money, I'll put it in there, no problem. You just doubled the user base in your specific protocol. And like Giga said, they all got onboarded to Pulse Chain by default. It's like a networking, it's like a network marketing company or a networking company or anything that you want to build, you've got to go out and tell new customers. And that's just really kind of where it's at. How fast can a protocol blow up if you have everybody just sharing it with one person? Very quickly. And then that drives momentum.
Yeah, and expanding on that a little bit, I think that there's certainly value in doing that, and everybody is going to be having a little bit different situation as far as who they're networked with, or who they feel comfortable introducing the idea to. I think a lot of the stress on the network now comes from a lot of folks. You hear the the cry fagging, right, that goes on. A lot of that is probably not just because of their own bags, right? A lot of people, who onboarded friends and family, years ago now feel all of the stresses of not only their own bags, but everybody that trusted them, right? So that's always going to be one way to go about it. I just think this day and age, when we have, the ability to attract, instead of attracting a couple of people, attracting, tens of thousands of people, through entertainment and through, the viral way that information travels, across the internet these days. That's going to be where we can pick up the most new users, is by creating, attention grabbing opportunities, for the chain. And then, building that all around the first principles that the chain was founded on, right? So you see what, and we're on, a lot of us here spend a lot of our time, and we're not alone. There's people out on Twitter that spend a lot of time that don't do it on in blockchain communities. They do it in other communities and political communities that are talking right now about free speech and all of the polarizing opinions that people have about what's going on in the world. There's only one chain that was founded on the same principles that Elon Musk bought Twitter for, is to protect free speech and to counterbalance what is happening in the media, where everything is manipulated, and people's opinions and people's emotions are all triggered by what's happening or where they're being led, versus truth and the ability to share opinions freely.
Yeah, personally, I don't
That's
think
what's
anybody
happening
wants
on
to be
chain.
onboarded. I don't think anybody wants to be onboarded in the blockchain for that stuff. I don't think
you're not
anybody
being
gives a
onboarded.
shit about that stuff.
Yeah, you're not necessarily being onboarded for that specifically. It's more of this is what's happening, and this is more for the blockchain people that see what's happening out on the centralized exchanges. It's the same thing repeating itself, with centralized entities taking control, and one chain, very much like Elon Musk's X, being a platform where free speech is the founding principle. So again, that's for more tenured folks, and I think that's a discussion that will attract more tenured blockchain folks. And at the other end of it is just stupid humor and entertainment and fun that's going to attract everyone else, the everyday user that isn't as experienced with blockchain. They just want to come on and join a community and have some fun.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I know one thing that we're changing, or I'm personally changing up here locally. My wife ran into two people that are at work that are big crypto people in Miami, crypto meetups. And I'm actually remiss on the actual large community of in real life crypto people here in Miami, including our close friend that actually launched the TradeStation platform. I don't know if anyone's familiar with it, but it's more of a centralized exchange and stock and crypto type stuff thing. But now, because Twitter's fun, you guys do a good job of that, and everyone's accustomed to that style. And there's a lot of echo chambers and Telegram, etc. But it's going to be a fun ride for us here towards the end of the year, since it's season here in Miami. Just getting to shaking hands and talking to all these actual young professionals in the crypto space that have no clue what Pulse Chain is, local. So that's going to be fun for me to put my sales hat on and have those conversations. And of course, to all the young professionals or those economic-minded business minds that I deal with, PTGC and the protocols, pretty much the only thing that you can talk about of substance besides the meme world, etc. PEX and PTGC are probably the two things you can actually have an intelligent depth conversation on with those kind of guys. Should be fun. Keep you posted.
It's awesome, man.
Thank you, brother. And to Mando, I can definitely tell you, I always loved the Mando conversations, the wisdom, the intelligence, and from the bottom of his heart, he literally is just always kind of thinking 5 steps ahead to every person that he talks to. hoping their success and just basic brass tacks. Brass tacks, straight talk. So it's always good.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, you got to look out for other people's interests. A lot of people don't know what they're supposed to be doing. You know, a lot of people get very overzealous in this business, and you know,
very easy and very true. Very easy and very true.
But you got to admit, man, if you just got involved with the thing that was good and you held it, and you didn't get sucked into all the BS that's available to you, your life is better, your stress is less, you probably made more, you know, you're in a good position, you're just living in real life, doing your work, doing your job, building your business, hanging out with your wife and your kids. That's really what I'm talking about in terms of onboarding people to Pulse Chain. At this point, I don't care about the dumb pipe. When the dumb pipe decides that it wants to be more valuable, fine. What I care about regarding the dumb pipe is it safe? Is it secure? Is it going to get rugged? Is it going to be shut down? Is the SEC going to shut it down? No. Is there liquidity enough to have, you know, a legitimate thing on it? Yes, there is, right? So all the things that I want to see in a blockchain, Richard set that up professionally. That's done, right? The conversation for me right now isn't, I have positions, the positions in the cores, right? But what I'm just trying to bring up the conversation for everybody now is, who I'm speaking to is, it's time for us to ask ourselves individually, okay, where are we at now? Throw everything away. Hindsight's 2020. Where are we at now with Pulse Chain? How involved do we want to be? Are we involved with anything that's worth true value on the chain, that's worth telling new people about legitimately? I believe that there is. I believe that Pulse Chain represents a phenomenal speculation in the blockchain technology sector that has not properly been valued against its like-kind technologies. It is legitimately massively undervalued against its like-kind technologies. And there are things on it that I think are very interesting and very powerful, and people can make money with on that blockchain. So there's a double whammy. There's a very big backing of a very big entity. There's the SEC stuff that's behind us now. There's a triple bottom. There's a massive reserve. There's a founder that's getting louder. He's starting to speak to the community again. There's a lot of red flags turning to green flags. And they didn't come in the way we wanted them to, in the time frame that we wanted them to. But Richard's becoming much more talkative. He's telling us how he's thinking. He's showing us the charts in terms of how he's thinking. We need to be talking about these things. But in terms of why are we here on Pulse Chain still, we really need to be asking ourselves that question. And if we're not willing, think about it like this, guys. If we're not willing to tell anybody about Pulse Chain now, why the hell are we here? What the hell are we doing? I mean, is the thing just going to pump from osmosis? I think go ahead.
I think that's pretty obviously what Richard's kind of telling his community in the last recent days is, you know, all as I hear everyone talking about is alt season, right? Or Richard's waiting for alt season, then Richard's going to pump the chain. So we're not going to do anything in the meantime. We're not going to work towards the goal. We're not going to onboard anyone. And then when these green candles come, we're just going to sell into it, right? And like, do I think some green candles will come in that time? Yeah, but you know, I don't think we should count or depend or rely on a massive alt season, Obviously, retail isn't even really flowing into crypto at this moment. It's all institutional money, which isn't a good sign for a good alt season. And on top of that, you know, why would Richard pump his chain if he doesn't see any active new users even being onboarded onto the chain? He already pumped 20 million into it, and it just got sold into. So I 100% agree. I think for, you know, any sub community, obviously PTGC in particular here, is we have 3,000 stakers, and with 3,000 stakers, we can cover tons of ground against the blockchain in the meantime. If the blockchain goes lower, it just becomes that much easier for us to do X's against the blockchain because we'll have less liquidity because of Hart's Law. If the blockchain works with us, obviously that's a pro as well, because now the X multiplier effect is in place and the chain's doing what we hope and think it will do in the future. So, you know, I think Richard's kind of telling us firsthand, like, hey guys, like if you believe in this chain, if you don't believe in the chain, why are you even here? First off, like
Right.
if you're not willing to ask a friend or a family member or an acquaintance to, like you said, take some Vegas money over here, if it's $1,000, $5,000 opportunity, risk to reward, like I don't know of anywhere else you can find that. That's why I'm here. Even for just PTGC, Giga was talking about this earlier. You could take a protocol like PTGC and be very successful without the success of the blockchain, but just with remote success of the blockchain, projects like PTGC and UFO skyrocket into like top 100 cryptocurrencies, even for irrelevant products that have almost zero community. With the success of the blockchain, those products probably soar right into like the top 1,000 because of the fact of building on something before it has adoption instead of after.
100%. Yeah, so it's like Pulse Chain's community has instead they've degraded down to a small social club, just waiting for Sack Daddy to pump baggies. It's not going to happen. If we, you know,
other chains at this point where we are in the cycle is very, very difficult, especially because people in other chains already are in crypto and they already know Richard. And Richard and this chain has obviously a certain like stigma with it, that it's very non-coiner who's just using like Vegas money. They don't know who Richard is. They don't know what the Pulse chain and the Hex community has gone through, but that doesn't mean that it's not a great opportunity for them right now. I think if you look at the price where PTGC, UFO is, and even where Pulse chain is, it's like the opportunity couldn't get better with Richard waking up. And they don't need to know necessarily the story or crypto Twitter and memeing and this. It's just a great opportunity for them to get in. And by you exposing those people to the opportunity, you're obviously helping that opportunity come to like reality. Because everyone that gets in one by one makes the price go up.
Oh yeah, good morning, boys. Also, sorry, I just need to interject and say I am drunk as fuck. I haven't been on Spaces in like 5 fucking months, but I was just like, okay, I checked out a couple Spaces and I'm like, do I see Mando up in here? I haven't talked to this fucking guy in like 2-3 fucking years since M87. And I'm like, yeah, I like Mando. I'm going to jump in this shit. So I apologize, I'm drunk. I by chance bought this fucking token like I think maybe a year and a half ago. And I think that it went up pretty decently, actually. It happened to be one of the few things that I actually bought on Pulse Chain. So yeah, thank you guys. You guys actually killed it. I assume you guys are still killing it because you guys are still on Spaces. But yeah. Anyways, Mando, how are you doing, bro? That's actually why I jumped up here, because I was like, bro, you are the fucking legend. You've been around since I think I saw you in Cult DAO is actually where I met you. I happened to not meet you in Hex or Pulse Chain, but I happened to meet you in Cult DAO. And ever since then, I was like, you are a solid fucking guy. So how are you doing, bro?
Oh, thanks, man. It's good to hear your voice, bro. Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm blessed. Everything is going well. Those cult DAO days were very fun, very interesting. Learned a lot from that, obviously. You know, being Mr. Help Desk over there on a lot of things. But yeah,
I'm pretty sure that shit I invented like far surpassed their like they're ATH, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It did real well, but yeah, Grays has done great on Pulse Chain. It's become a staple on Pulse Chain. It's by far one of the best protocols, one of the most proven protocols, and we're at a low. We're at a great entry point on the chain, with the chain being at a triple bottom. And Richard just beat the SEC, and we're just kind of trucking along, man. We show up 2 times a week and just always giving the alpha, whatever we can do to continue the onboarding. Right now, we're at a point where we're masterminding on setting up some systems for in real life onboarding, because we're just not sitting around waiting for somebody to pump the bags. But yeah, it's good to hear from you, man.
Hey, thanks so much. Like for somebody, and I'm not currently invested in Pulse Chain, or I shouldn't say that. I have probably. Well, actually, I don't know. I probably have 50 grand or something in there, but I just don't look at it at all. It just sits kind of on a dormant wallet.
In Pulse itself? Or
yeah, it's probably sitting at about 50K, considering that BTC.
Why don't you put it in PTGC, man?
It's just sitting at Pico bottom. I think it must be all the way down to 50K right now or something. But so I just don't look at it, basically.
Not financial advice, man, but I definitely look into PTGC with some of that. Definitely, you're going to get APY. It's hyper deflationary. There's a massive liquidity web that the systems all got burnt liquidity. You take a little bit of that PLS and you swap it for PTGC, and it's basically like a proxy of the system. But it's if you want to learn a little bit more about it, just DM me, man.
Honestly, that's kind of why I came up, because I saw that you were in the spaces, and then also I was like, you know what? I haven't paid attention to anything that's been ongoing for probably about 2 years. I feel like it was maybe 2 summers ago when this exact token came out, and I happened to buy it by pure happenstance, and then it did end up kind of running up. I ended up taking profits, and then I just kind of chilled on the bags. It just sat in Pulse Chain, sorry, and sorry, I'm drunk right now, but yeah, I just kind of sat in PulseX, and I just left it sit there for years. And so I thought, okay, what is actually better than someone who's a drunken fool hopping up on spaces who knows literally nothing about Pulse Chain at this point? And that's just purely because I've been preoccupied with other things that I'm extremely enamored with at the moment, in any case. But I was like, oh, you're very solid. I know that for a fact. I know that whatever it is that you're pushing from a genuine nature of that you believe in it. So I figured I'm going to hop up as almost like a complete fucking random to just simply ask questions about this in particular. And if you could even just deep dive us from the start. Because
yes, I would like to do that. We got Zen on, who is the founder, brother. And in my opinion, he's the best founder on all of Pulse Chain. He's the most integrity, shows up every week, 100% has your best interest in heart. He's a professional businessman outside of crypto, very successful father, husband. And I'd like for him to give you the quick overview, just a quick 3-minute overview of why he created the protocol, and we can start there. And then if you want to have a conversation afterwards, over the phone or whatever later, we can do that.
Hell yeah, dude. Definitely interested.
Why don't you introduce yourself to Zen, the founder, real quick?
Okay, so first off, today I'm an alcoholic, but most of the days I'm not. Most of the days I've been pretty sober, and yeah, you know what? I've been in an extreme ETH maxi for the most part. I've chilled on Solana a little bit. I probably print anywhere from 7 to 8 digits a year on meme coins predominantly, and I'm pretty successful at doing that. I think I've called 6 plus 1,000 to 6,500 X's in the last year, and I've done that pretty consecutively over the last 3 years. I also came up with a white paper for a project called M87, which ended up reaching 160 million from the 50K market cap, where I introduced a white paper to a project that I randomly came across while I happened to be in Cult DAO alongside Mando. And I was actually going out to prove that projects were scams, and I came across some project called M87, wrote them a white paper. They ended up taking the white paper, turning it into reality. Richard Hart happened to touch on this when Alex from, I believe it was called Hedron. Is that his name? Alex? I think it was. I think Alex from Hedron brought it up in some spaces with Richard Hart. He thought it was interesting. They chose to not actually build out the privacy DApp that I wanted to end up having come into fruition for reasons that I won't even discuss. But in any case, so I came up with all this shit, and then I kind of just actually moved on to meme coins after that, and kind of just delved into that for the last few years. And now I'm really focused on a different network that I think is going to become, I actually think it's going to flip ETH, but I'm not going to discuss what it is here. But anyway, something that I think is going to be bigger than almost anything. And but then I saw this.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that later. But let me have Zen introduce himself to you, and then tell you why he created the Grays, so that you can understand what's happening on Pulse Chain with the Grays. It's unique, and I want you to understand it. So Zen, can you do that for me real quick?
Yeah, I can. Hopefully you guys can hear me all right. Let me know if I cut in and out.
You're okay now.
I go through some dead spots, so if you miss a section, just tell me to rewind. But yeah, so just background on me. I have a business outside of crypto. Got the business to a point to where I can start investing some of the profits into different things. Came to the conclusion that a lot of investments out there right now, there's just not a lot of profit in, just due to a lot of the gains being from inflation and stuff like that. So, for example, if the S&P is up 50% in the last 5 years, but inflation's up 50%, you pretty much just saved yourself from the inflation. There's no real gains there. So then I started dabbling in crypto just for the price appreciation of assets. Was holding just Bitcoin, Ethereum for the most part. Had a family friend introduce me to Hex. Became passionate about decentralized finance, so like interesting financial products being built on top of blockchain. Looked for other good sustainable financial projects on blockchain. Had a checklist of boxes that I was looking to check for my own investment reasons, because I'm taking hard-earned capital from the outside world and bringing it in, and really couldn't find anything good. So then, as I was kind of looking for good stuff, I started working on my own project, taking a lot of the features that I was looking for, and then building it all under one protocol. Where most projects, even I feel like, hit a wall is just the demand side of it. And this is even where, I struggled a lot of time coming up where I could get the constant demand within a protocol, because there's always new shiny objects. Humans have emotions. Humans rotate into other things. And by just being on Pulse Chain, I came across the idea by studying other ecosystems, this thing that either I came up with or someone came up with along the way, called the liquidity web. And it was a way that I was able to create constant demand for the protocol without any human interaction. So with just the market doing what the market does, going up and down, it fires throughout our liquidity web, and we generate revenue off of this liquidity web, because that's our service to the market. And then we take 100% of that revenue and bring it back to the ecosystem. So via buy and birds, LP ads, and APY for holders. And then just over time, as we grow and as the network we're built on grow, this value is increasing over time too, making it very sustainable as we do X's and appreciate over time. And for me, it solves a lot of the issues that most protocols come across. Obviously, like 99.9% of protocols fail due for a bunch of reasons: founder issues, code issues, just not good actors is usually the cause. It's just people are greedy and walk away with all the value. So I was just trying to solve that with this protocol, and Richard gives a unique opportunity on this blockchain. We're able to create a great web at a discounted price, and as we grow, we help the blockchain, and as the blockchain grows, the blockchain helps us. So that's pretty much the protocol.
Yeah, it went up to about a $350 million market cap at the all-time high, and currently at about a 50. with the pullback of Pulse Chain. So it's a great entry point.
So essentially, are you guys just adding LP to a whole bunch of different tokens, and then you're just taking the fees that are derived from, like this isn't based off of any knowledge I have that is pre-existing about the project, but just simply based off of what it is that I was interpreting off of what it is that you said? Are you essentially just pegged to a bunch of different tokens, and then you're just taking the fees that are being generated from adding liquidity to pools existing between the various tokens, and then you're taking those profits and then putting them back into buy and burns or buybacks or something of that nature?
Very similar, yeah. So we're kind of just remaining on the blockchain, generating revenue, looking for the projects that we consider like the blue chips of this undervalued blockchain and the ones that we think will be sustainable over long periods of time. We're creating liquidity pools with them. And as those assets move up and down against each other, we generate revenue off of those arbitrage opportunities because the constant between the pairs is the PTGC asset. So that constant becomes price different when, let's say, Hex moves up, but ETH moves down, right? Or if ETH moves up and Hex moves down, there's an arbitrage opportunity there. And by us offering liquidity to the market, arbitrage bots go through our pools, but there's a fee. And then we take 100% of that fee and either keep increasing our web, growing the passive income machine that we have through the market shifts, or doing buybacks and burns or APY for holders via automated features within the code. And then this just kind of happens all day, every day. Some days when there's a lot of volatility and volume on the chain, we generate a lot more. And then on lower days, obviously, we generate any less. Just very similar to any business out there. There's higher days and lower days.
Right now, the protocol is generating approximately $4.5 to $5 million a year in pure revenue with zero overhead. 100% of that revenue is going back to the users in the form of specific distribution, APY, liquidity ads, treasury goes back to the DAO to do the same things all over again, buy and burns. So all the places that is meaningful, all the places that you want the capital that's brought in to go to, that's where it goes. Not one dime has ever gone to a special person or a special group. 100% of the revenue goes right back into the protocol to undergird the protocol's LP, enlarge the liquidity web, which creates new revenue centers, pay out APY to holders, and currently right now it's about $4.5 million a year at very, very low volume levels.
Would there be a chance of you guys taking a portion of those funds that you guys end up collecting, even like say 25%, and let's say you start scooping like 1 to 1.25 mil per year out of those fees, and use that towards the production of some other endeavor that ends up becoming some type of a protocol of some kind that ends up then deriving even more profits, to where you essentially start expanding in the form of which use cases you're able to bring to the market, so that you can actually amplify the amount of revenue being brought back to the ecosystem, and potentially even rather than targeting, say, like, and just for the record, I just want to say this very transparently, I'm not super invested in the Pulse Chain ecosystem as a whole, but I would just view myself as like a benevolent person that looks out for everybody's needs. So I'm just saying this as someone who's like looking at this from a standpoint of what would benefit everyone the most that lives within the Pulse Chain ecosystem. Because I feel like most Pulse Hexicans and Hexicans are actually really good-hearted people. That's how I view them mostly, at least. I'd say 20% of them are just shit fucks, but I'd say 80% of them, like, they're really good people, and they actually are the types of people who want to believe in something that is bigger than themselves. So in any case, and I think most of those people deserve it. So like something that is able to extrapolate money that exists in other ecosystems and essentially bring it back to Pulse Chain, because there are technically use cases that you could bring to any layer of any kind on any existing other network, and then bring those fees back, even in an immutable nature, to where those funds that are being derived off of the service provided to any other layer, they could be immutably captured and also bridged back into Pulse Chain and brought back into the ecosystem. The same way that it is that you're describing, that essentially the fees currently derived from the service or from what it is that you're currently capitalizing off of regarding these pools, etc.
Gotcha.
You could do something similarly, but maybe with a different service, and or where you continuously expand upon services that are being provided by Gray's Currency. Is that what it's called? Yeah, Gray's Currency. And I do. You know what's fucked up? I might even still own these tokens. I'm not sure. I have to go look through like really what I consider dead wallets. Like, I actually had a big ass position in this, bro. I might be really sad when I go look at it, because I actually had a big ass position in this. I didn't even know that you guys were at like 50 mil or something. At one point I had over 1%. So I might be really sad when I go look at my back, bro. I'm not gonna lie. But anyways,
yeah, a 1% position right now is probably worth, oh yeah, 600 G's. 700 G's, something like that. I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah, so I might be really sad. It sounds more like I'm going to be really sad when I realize it. It is what it is. But yeah, you know what? I just think that.
But yes, but to answer your question before you keep going, because I don't want you to lose track. 100%, the sky is the limit with the Gray's Currency protocol. It is a revenue generating beast, and what the numbers that we've seen and that we could actually run through are astronomical, especially at, when Pulse Chain starts having peak performance. This thing's just generating so much revenue. It's crazy. Now, that revenue automatically goes to certain places, and then a certain amount of that revenue goes to a DAO. And there's very smart people that, vote on where that money goes. And so the pivotability and the genius of the system is that the system can constantly evolve and pivot and grow and expand based on the market and based on what new opportunities come its way. Right now it's doing exactly what it needs to do based on the market that it's sitting in right now. And after the revaluation of Pulse Chain, it'll be in a position to do those types of things if it deems that that's something that the community will benefit from. 100%. So the pivotability of the system is one of the unique things that make it very strong. So the answer to your question is yes. Obviously, nothing would receive an upvote unless it 1000% just made perfect sense to do for the benefit of the holders. Everything is for the holders. So there's no shenanigans here. There's no taking money and just doing frivolously what you want, or let's just play a guessing game. Or that's what's so unique about this thing, is that 100% of the revenue has to benefit the holders, and it's not going to be played around with. Period.
Yeah,
revenue doesn't get played around with here.
I wouldn't doubt it. You know what? I feel like my real opinions would be highly frowned upon within the Pulse Chain community, so I'll keep those to myself for the most part. But I'm actually, at this exact current moment, very unsure as to what it is that Richard Hart can bring to the table that is superior to things that I'm very, very well learned on at this point, that have already been brought to the table and that are being brought to the table by executives, not even executives, literally the CEO of Google, that is bringing things to the table. And so I'm not really sure that he's able to compete at that level, if I'm being really honest. And especially being that they're able to deliver 11 million TPS, and they're going to be able to produce it at less than Solana prices, and that it will surpass every single thing that anyone in blockchain has ever been able to achieve.
Yeah,
things like that
depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for centralization, it's not.
No, just wait. No, it will be decentralized eventually. I verified this, and I'm very much with you on this point. Currently, these things are very centralized, but there is a decentralized aspect of this that will end up coming into place in 6 to 12 months. No, wait. Wait.
Do me a favor,
Wait.
though.
Wait. Wait.
Listen to me, brother.
Okay, I'll listen to you first, but then I'll finish my thought. Is that okay?
No. Yeah, that's because we want to. We've got the space here, and we need to keep it rolling. So
I think this is rolling. Actually, I will DM you because I think that actually everything here, actually, what ends up happening in the future, that without even discussing what it is that I'm referring to, I think it actually ends up coexisting. That's the thing. So everything on every chain ultimately ends up coexisting in a singular place where everything is able to essentially be atomically swapped, and where every bit of decentralization that exists on every single chain, all of that still exists cohesively within a singular ecosystem, and where that ecosystem is able to simply transact at a level that will never experience bottlenecks of any kind.
Yeah, it's like the blockchain singularity is basically what it is. Between AI and quantum computing, you basically just end up with a world of everything's connected.
For sure. And also, just because you brought up quantum, on a network that just happens to be quantum resistant and quantum upgradable, which no other blockchain in the entire world is, just by chance. So suddenly we can connect everything to everything through something called anchors that are atomic swaps that take place in near instant transaction times, like 400 milliseconds or less. And so everything that is being achieved on Pulse Chain or Solana or Base Chain or wherever is going to all be achievable on a singular chain that connects everything together, regardless of whether it's EVM or Rust or whatever. And it's backed by the most craziest people in the world that you could never imagine. And by the people who literally brought 100 mil things to top 5 companies in the world as their pet projects. And so I think that within a very short period of time, we're going to see extremely cool shit happen. And I think that Grays, though, for example, like what it is that you're describing even right now, in particular, like pertaining to Grays, it's like, oh, cool. This actually sounds super legit. Like, I pray to God, bro, that I still have that bag. I'm not going to lie, because I know that I bought over 1%. This was one of these things that just happened to pop up during like an alien meta where, I don't know if you remember that, but this thing kind of popped up around that time where there was like an alien meta. And I was like, oh, you know what? I'm actually just going to fucking huck a bunch of my stack money into this. Because I'm like, everyone else failed me on all their promises. They lied. And then this shit popped up. And I just thought, hey, this looked cool. It's a fucking alien meta. So I bought it. And I'm pretty sure I didn't sell it. But I'm not 100% sure whether or not I sold it. So, I'm going to have to go dig through some wallets and figure out whether or not I sold it. But I'm praying I still have a 1% plus position in this because it sounds legit as fuck. And also, I really like the fact that you guys said that 100% of the fees are going back to users, essentially. And to me, what that really means is, and I mean this in the most respectful way possible, I don't assume that the founder is not making money. I would assume that he should be making money, and he is entitled.
He makes money in the exact same way that everybody else that holds does.
Exactly, and that's just how that's how hexagons usually are. It's just the way that it is. People who actually understand hexagons and pulse hexagons, it's like people who really believe in the ethos. It's like, yeah, these, even, dude, when I'm fucking pushing meme coins on Ether, Solana, or whatever the fuck I've been pushing over all these years, it doesn't matter what it is. I'm never sitting there trying to capitalize off of some other person and do them dirty. Sometimes the tokens run up really substantially, and I could even be up millions of dollars on specific tokens, and I didn't capitalize off of that despite being in the position to, because I don't feel that I'm entitled to that money, because it's not something that I view as being earned unless it's something that was sustained. So it's and I feel like the majority of people who have actually been around for a long time, they just are the same way. And so I feel like Hex in and of itself as a culture, like a cult of people, they mostly have attracted people who are of that type of a mindset where they aren't the extractive type of personality. It's just the way that it is. That's a culture that has been formed around cult. The people who, or not around cult, sorry, the people who've been captured, by the Hex community, essentially. They're mostly people who are looking for things that are more long-term as per whatever their aspirations are. So And anyways, like, I think that whatever it is that you guys are building here, it sounds to me more like, okay, cool. You guys are giving what so far 100% back to the users. It's like, okay, well, there's nothing shady though about shaving that down and allocating a specific percentage of that towards expansion. And expansion doesn't necessarily mean what it would mean for any other protocol. It's like expansion could just simply be you guys taking that excess money and actually building out something additional that is revolutionary and something else that brings even more revenue back to the holders, and then taking a cut of that as well.
We've already done it. It's called UFO.
Oh, dude, I've heard about UFO. What is UFO?
It's a super farm. It's essentially a super farm that's also built on top of the Pulse Chain ecosystem that allows people to provide LP and generate passive Pulse Chain income, expanding the liquidity web. So it's and all of the revenue from the fees there either go back to the LP providers in the realm of receiving Pulse Chain, or it goes back into the system to buy and burn and add LP and those same kind of features into the UFO token. So it's a hyper-deflationary token farm. And in this specific situation, the actual token for that farm is a hyper-deflationary asset. So the whole system is designed to pump the price of the farm token and to give the farm token value. At the same time, a portion of the fees also buys and burns PTGC, which is kind of the mothership. So they're symbiotically related in terms of the token mechanics. And the UFO farm volume not only pumps its own token price, pays out LP providers, pays yield to UFO holders, but it also buys and burns and appreciates the value of the PTGC token as well. So they're created to symbiotically work together.
And there's 3 tokens, if I'm not mistaken, or am I remembering this wrong?
No, there's only 2. There's all, just to make it short, there's 2. There's PTGC and UFO.
Okay, and also just because I've literally been out of touch with all this shit, like B-Roots hit me up for some fucking launches that were happening, but I didn't really respond to them. Or not that I didn't respond to them. Sorry, let me retract this or redact this. Like I hit him up and said that it sounds cool. Maybe I'll look at some of these things, but we didn't really touch on them so much. About certain things that were upcoming on the Pulse Chain thing that weren't yet live yet or whatever. But like, in any case, because I thought like, you know what, maybe I'll actually hop on Pulse Chain. It's just that the TPS didn't really match anything that I thought would actually satisfy global payments essentially. And I don't think that Pulse Chain is actually capable of it. Like essentially, if I'm being 100% real, I don't think that what Richard Hart personally built is capable of actually handling global finance. And that's actually where...
Yeah, but all blockchains aren't going to do that.
They will.
You don't need,
There's one.
You don't need a million blockchains for that.
There's, no, you need one. There's one that exists. There's one that exists that can do it. Yeah, one exists currently that actually is capable of doing it. And that one I've spent over 7 digits in so far. And I'm probably going to end up spending 8 digits in. But I'm waiting for the next
do me a favor, man. Do me a favor. Send me a DM right now. Just
I will.
Say hi.
Oh,
Just
for
send me a
sure,
DM.
bro. I'll send you what it is.
We got to get it moving. Zen's got to close this down, and we can.
Okay, bet. But for sure. I'll definitely explain with you in detail. But you know what?
Send me the information. Let's talk.
Oh, 100%. You know what though? I think that with this in particular, this thing's been around for so long. I think that I saw this even pop up like a year and a half ago, right? Like I haven't even looked at your guys' chart.
2 years old. Yeah, it's over.
There you go, bro. It's literally like I remember this from like a summer or 2 ago. Like this is something that has been so like this still. When it showed up on my radar this morning, I'm like, that is still fucking around. I'm like, hey, these guys are not scamming, bro. That's the first thing that I thought in my head is whatever that is.
Opposite of a scam. How do you scam when you've made people millions of dollars and you've been to 350, you're sitting at 50, you got millions of dollars of burned, all the LPs are burned.
And then, exactly. So then it just comes down to the only retracement that this thing has seen is actually based off of its liquidity. It's actually based off of the downside in the liquidity. Yep, it's not based off of
the large majority is reflexivity, but yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly. So whatever you guys built here, this is fucking legit as fuck. So for me, I'm very interested in whatever you guys have done because you guys have sustained like all of whatever bullshit has been thrown your way for 2 years. For me, I thought it was a year and a half, but it's like 2 years. Okay, cool. So 2 entire years you've had shit thrown at you, and you guys are sitting there in the upper echelons on a chain that I would say the majority of crypto is completely ignoring. That's pretty impressive. Like, let's be real. Yeah, that's fucking unreal, bro. If you were on Solana, which I personally don't think is the future of crypto, I think that it's just a dog shit chain. I think that thing's not, I don't think it's going to stand the test of time in 10 to 20 years. I think right now, big banks and some other people are looking at it, but they're dumb. They just don't know what they're looking at, and they don't realize just how incapable it actually is of handling what it is that they need as per scalability long term. And that scalability wise, they need a minimum. They literally need a minimum of like 750,000 TPS, and no other blockchain can produce that except for one that is currently existing. And even Sui is running at 300,000 TPS. And Sui is a very, very great blockchain in the scheme of things, but it's not really comparable compared to, say, 11 mil TPS. So it's like, yeah, it's okay. It's all right, but you're not up there, bro. You guys still can't handle the volume of what is required to handle over $10 trillion of daily transaction taking place volume-wise. You guys simply can't handle it. Like,
we don't need to. We don't need to.
Yeah, not yet.
It's just not necessary for EVMs to do that.
Not yet. Although, they're essentially, dude, I can't wait to speak to you in DMs because I swear to God, bro. Oh man, all the good people of Hex, I swear. I'm like, dude, I know exactly what the next solution is. But anyways, the
DM me right now. All right?
Oh, I will.
Please just click on me and DM me. Just send me a message, say yo. So I got you. And Zen, I need you to chime back in, please, because it's 12:20 and I need to know where we were at.
Hell yeah. But yeah, also, I really would love to see other additional functionality brought to Grace. And if you guys had any other additional functionality that you were thinking of bringing to Grace, do you guys have any alpha as to what it is that you guys thought potentially that you guys would be bringing to it? And if not, then I would be so much more than happy to even offer some suggestions as to things that you guys could bring to this that I think have a very high addressable market, and where the fees.
Zen, can you hear me?
Maybe.
Sorry.
No, you're good, dude. Yeah, like it has a high addressable market. Like anything that I'm ever looking at, it has high addressable markets. That's usually what it is that I personally am wanting to create ideas for, right? And actually, by chance, when Alex brought up the idea to Richard, which like I personally felt very honored by, because we were sitting at like some dog shit market cap on that M87 shit.
Brother, I apologize, man. I've got to cut you off, man.
You're good, dude.
We try to stick to a certain time frame. I don't want to do that, but I've got.
No, you're totally good. I figured maybe bro fell asleep. Yeah. I was just trying to cut out dead space for sure.
No, we gotta get to the next segment and then cut it off. But please, I want to talk to you. Please send me the DM.
Oh, for sure, dude. Yeah.
Enjoy the drunkardness for the day, and
oh, trust me, I am, bro. Hell yeah, bro.
I know. That's why I got to cut you off. Because we've talked before. We could go for hours, bro, but we can't do that right now.
I feel you, dude. Yeah. I feel you, bro.
So, appreciate you for chiming in, man. Send me the DM now, and I'll probably give you a call within the next couple of days. Zen, can you chime back in? Yeah, I think you just need to shut it down because you're no longer. I can't hear you anymore. So, guys, I think we've gone long enough. If anybody else has anything just real quick, if not, we're going to go ahead and shut it down. It's 12:23 on a Saturday. We got to get back to the families. So thanks so much, guys, for everybody chiming in and showing up. You guys are awesome for continuing to show up for Pulse Chain and for the things that you guys believe in on Pulse Chain. We've got a lot of cool things in the mix for the Grays right now. You know, people are working hard behind the scenes to implement some cool things for the community. And yeah, that's enough said on that. But for now, guys, we'll talk to you guys soon.
Woo. That was a long one. That was a long one. All right, guys. You heard Mando. It's time to get back to the fam. I gotta get back to my fam. We'll see you guys. Like, if you guys want to jump in tomorrow, I'll be doing my stream tomorrow. If you want to send people over, I'll be doing my stream tomorrow. And we do have some cool stuff coming for everybody. We got some cool stuff. We're working on it. So, everybody have a good day, man. And ladies, gentlemen and ladies. See ya.